This episode of Dishin Days is brought to you by Mastermind Media, a creative powerhouse and digital media agency. It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Hi, hello, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on X, Threads, and Instagram. Also, make sure you subscribe. That way you'll never miss when we're going live, and this time really in living color. So make sure you go to Dishin Days, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell notification so that way you'll never miss when we're going live and in living color.
Stop it.
Also, while you're there, if you haven't joined our members only exclusive look at some Days content before anyone else, make sure you join our members page. Just click that $4.99 a month button and look at all the fun content that we have in store only for you until we release it to everyone else. Also, if you want to take us on a long walk, or if you're stuck in traffic, or if you're gardening in your garden, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And now on Spotify, you can see us, which is great for some. Also, make sure you show some love to our favorite former co-host and my chocolate twin, my dear old friend, Mr. James Lott Jr. is serving up a couple of dishes of his own. Make sure you check out JLJ Media for some original audio dramas, as well as your fix of General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless, because James Lott Jr. is the oldest person I know who remembered when T-shirts were made.
I did.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, you were. You were. And he's here now. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God, that's it. That's it. All right. Sorry, this is brand new for us, y'all, because we are all in studio together because it's our 10th anniversary today. Can you believe it? Who would have thought that one day we would all be face to face instead of sitting at home?
I am not wearing my pajamas, that's for sure.
I'm doing a business on top party underneath type of situation.
I just noticed that.
I don't know what party that is, but it feels like everyone's invited.
The ham hocks are out, ladies.
And now when Araceli says something, we can all now stare at her. And now she knows how we feel when we're like, all right.
Instead of thinking, you okay? We can actually be like,
You think I don't get that through the screen?
she doesn't have any wine. She doesn't have any adult beverages with her. So I think
We don't know what was in that cup before she came up.
Oh,
It was water. We're all good. It's still noon.
She had a roadie on her way from East LA.
She did.
Oh,
She did. She had enough time. And of course, in the studio, we also have some of our former co-hosts. We have the lovely and beautiful Miss Tami Goveia with us.
Yeah.
And the very loud Mr. James Lott Jr.
I'm back, bitches. We should do a compilation and say it every time. But I'm back. You can't get rid of me.
You know,
I'm back,
literally every time he comes back, he says, I'm back,
Back,
bitches.
bitches.
And I'm like, did you go somewhere?
I went somewhere,
You-
but I'm back.
Did you go somewhere to come back from?
You come back, exactly. Exactly. We're glad to be here, aren't we, Tam?
You're so
We love to say
Yay!
it's Shady Sunday.
It's Shady Saturday.
Shady Saturday.
Shady Saturday today.
10 years.
10 long years. Here we are. Well, before we go down memory lane of our 10 long years, let's talk about our favorite show. What did we think about this week's episodes of Days?
Y'all.
Okay.
Oh, Michael's starting. Go ahead.
No, I'm laughing because I know. I'm I'm laughing because I know what you're gonna say.
Oh.
Because we already talked about it.
Go.
You
Well,
wanted to say
that's what I got to say.
That's it?
That's what I gotta say.
It was one of those weeks.
It was one of those weeks.
Just-
Oh, it was
Justin?
one of those weeks.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
like, I liked it. It was great.
There's
It
always
was
one.
a good week.
What?
Not on the 10th anniversary show. This isn't the. It was a good week. There was some storylines we'll talk that weren't like great, and we'll talk about that. But we had a couple good ones in there. Some interesting stuff happened.
I liked exactly one thing.
Oh, wow. Well, this is going to be a very interesting
This
show.
is not going to be a downer show.
No, because it's us. We're together.
I mean, listen, it's never a downer.
It's honest.
It's always
not
an
a downer.
upper.
It's honest feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this week's episodes just so happened to land on one of the most important days of Dishin Days.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about
in
it.
February of all months.
In
Like,
Black History.
Used to be February sweeps. Used to be something. But
now it doesn't matter.
not really.
Well, you know, it's
This
so
one's
weird
streaming.
for me because I haven't watched Days of Our Lives in so long.
Mhm.
So
Let me tell you how long it's been since James has watched. So when we were talking, he was like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch this week. But I haven't watched it since Doug's funeral.
I haven't even seen Doug's funeral.
I
I don't think I can emotionally.
No,
do
when
that.
was
Okay,
Doug's
no,
funeral?
that I understand.
Yeah.
Huh?
That I
Doug's
understand.
funeral was December.
Oh, that's not that
December.
bad.
that long.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that I
February.
understand. It was a real like
That's not
that
long.
was heavy for all of us.
That's a
That's-
while.
February? I mean, it's
Almost.
February now, yeah.
Yeah.
You would think that
I thought James
no.
was going to say.
Yeah,
like,
I
he
thought you were
hasn't
gonna say, like,
watched his
a
last
year
time
or
Elena got
so.
pregnant.
Oh yeah.
Which
That was
Was it-
2004.
I know that was only 7 years ago.
I mean, traditionally, that technically is a while, but that's with the caveat that you think that January had a lot of content in it. It really didn't.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's find out what we all thought about this week's episodes. And here's the test.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh!
I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm ready.
God.
I
I
practiced
was
at
at the
home.
hourglass, but
I
yeah, we
practiced
need
at
to-
home.
All right, here we go.
Oh my God.
It is now time to start
Did,
Girl.
Dishin Days. Yay! Look at that. Set it and forget
No,
it.
let's replay
We're
that
gonna,
every
you know what? I'm gonna use that.
Yes.
And-
We have to.
Oh my
and
God.
we're just gonna start playing that
Yes.
from now on, like instead of trying to get it
Yeah,
right.
We never do.
All right, so let's start off with our top storylines, which the first one is, if anyone objects, Michael Battis.
Actually, I object to something later, so we'll.
Oh, so you're
I
saving.
object to
He's
something, but not the story.
You're
I reserve the
saving
right
your
to
object.
object to this entire week.
Well, the things that we're objecting on are the lovely wedding of Jada and Rafe. Well, we all know that wedding was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No weddings
Of course.
happen in Salem.
on Salem. Get on Salem.
Her dress is pretty.
Yeah.
The dress.
Thank
She
you,
was.
Tami.
Amazing.
Yes.
She looked amazing.
Yes.
Her dress.
Yes.
Mhm.
I liked that we had like it. I know when people take issue with it's like weddings aren't inside a church anymore and they're always in the town square. At least we have an outdoor church, even though it's February and in Salem.
Yeah.
You know what? That's something we just need to.
There were
let go.
heaters though. They were like
Yeah.
heaters hidden in
I
the scene.
appreciate
So.
that Paulina actually said something about it being February in the Midwest and them having an outdoor wedding. The ridiculousness of it all.
Well, there's a lot of ridiculousness happening. First and foremost, this whole thing of like busting Jada as like a cricket cop, like
Ugh.
what's in the file?
What's in the file? It took so long. It was like, what's in the file? What's in the file? I'm like, we're at like minute 30 of this episode, and she's still saying what's in the file. I'm like,
Can we?
and then it's like he doesn't reveal. He just basic of what's in it. Like, oh, she cut corners. Oh, she didn't do her job. And it was all like, all right, come downtown. We're done. I'm like, really? You're not even gonna I guess he looked at it, but how can you look at something that quickly and know the entire context of it? It was a bit clunky for me.
Yeah. it was.
That's my blanket statement about this.
But also the fact that this was only like what, a few weeks or a few months that she took over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That file was thick.
Yeah.
Like Like, how do you have
What's
that
on
much in that
manufactured?
short
Yeah,
amount of time?
course.
But throughout her whole like police officer career,
I don't.
we suddenly have this thick folder of her being some corrupt cop. Like, and then at what point is Jada gonna be like, something ain't right?
I think she was in a state of confusion when it was happening, because also she's dealing with Arnold, who she thinks is Rafe, and she's like, "What's going on? Like, why are you sort of turning on me?" I feel like it was a lot for her to process, and I feel like she's still in a little bit of a shock, especially that day when it happened.
Question to the group.
Mhm.
I think I missed most of Robo Rafe 1.0.
Okay.
Who was around and knows about
You
Robo
know,
Rafe
James was
2.0?
around during the. James
Other
has
than
been around.
I'm
too.
talking about
Characters,
I'm
yeah.
talking about character wise.
Yeah.
So I don't know who
I
is
remember.
Arnold.
No.
No.
What characters were around that would be able to see that Rafe is clearly not acting like himself, and to be like, oh, I wonder.
Mostly everyone. I don't
Yeah.
think Steve was.
Steve was not.
No.
It was majority.
But everyone
Sammy
else.
was Sammy would be the
James,
one to know. EJ,
Yeah.
Roman, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was
Yeah,
around. Yeah, because he
Roman.
was
Well,
with
Kay
Faye.
would know
Yeah.
if Rafe's acting weird because they were
Did it.
they
They
were
did it.
intimate for a minute.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Kate's got her own.
Yeah,
I
well,
see what she's busy with other stuff, and she hasn't seen. I mean, from what we know, she hasn't witnessed Rafe acting weird. So
It's really only because again, Jada wasn't around, and Steve I don't think was around at that point.
Mm-mm.
So if they seem to be the two who are onto it or think something is really suspicious.
Mhm.
Gabby, I can't remember if
Gabby
she was in prison
around.
or she was around.
No,
but-
she was around. I want to
Yeah, she
say,
was.
but she was very young. She
Yeah.
was still. I
Yeah.
think she was still in high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
not that high school picture.
We got
I still really want that photo. If someone can find that photo of Camila Bannis as Gabby,
She probably has it.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I was just shocked. I was like, what in the 2000s is this?
I
I'm like,
know.
I know, it's
Arnold
like-
actually
Yeah.
visited that
Interesting story
storyline.
to bring
And
back.
I knew it wasn't Rafe
Yeah.
mhm.
because it was so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, same here.
Well,
Yeah.
because Arnold is goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's goofy
He
and
watches porn.
yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I was shocked.
I was, you know what? To be honest, I was too. When he was sitting in the Salem Inn and you could hear it playing, I was like,
I was like, hey.
but they alluded to that
Yeah.
in like a couple of weeks ago when he was like, all right, so what are we watching?
Yeah.
Busty Blondes or?
Oh.
And then he put the laptop down. But my other question was, baby, you in the kitchen? Like,
Right.
how are you deciding your porn selection in the
Well, you
kitchen?
know, it's okay.
James, that is your house?
I was like,
guess.
okay.
When it's
okay.
not your house.
Yes,
Let's
okay.
clarify that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it is his house. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think we
right,
were
right.
just caught off guard because this was not a storyline that really left a good taste in people's
Right.
mouths originally
Mhm,
because
exactly.
of what happened between Arnold and Sammy
Yes.
and that EJ allowed that to happen. So the idea of bringing it back immediately left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I
I'm
agree.
wondering if the purpose was to address it and kind of make an attempt to course correct and have, because EJ, they're making a point for EJ to tell him multiple times, do not touch
Mhm.
Jada?
Jada.
Yeah.
Do not touch Jada. You are not to, kiss her, touch her,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
diddle her, anything.
Yeah.
And
Diddle,
I'm wondering if
diddle.
that's the point of this, because I can't really, to your point, I can't, or to
Yeah.
whoever was talking, I can't see, I can't think of a point, I can't think of a good reason to bring this storyline back
Yeah.
because, again, it did not leave a good taste in people's mouths the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, wow,
No.
okay.
I mean, we've talked about actually what we think the eventual point of this
Mhm.
storyline is. Right now, it's silly.
Well, we know
That's
we
so
know what it
polite.
might lead
That's
to.
so
Yeah.
polite. That's so
Yeah.
polite.
Promo.
That's so
Right,
polite.
right now it's just silly. Right now it's just
It's dumb.
inappropriate
The
and
storyline
dumb.
is dumb.
D-U-M, dumb.
Dumb.
It has it by
DUM.
itself has no long-term legs.
But I also think it's introducing something, I think, for Rafe and Jada, who are like not the perfect couple, but they're pretty solid as a couple. And I think people like them. I think this is a way to introduce some turmoil
They
in their
haven't had a lot of
relationship
conflict
without
in their relationship.
without bringing in a third party or
Oh, so we get it for
whatever.
real.
But I wanted some of that bacon.
It did look good.
You know
bacon
what? We
did look
talk
good.
about the food all the time
Oh, yeah.
on here.
The fries,
The
that,
fries.
they were eating in the square.
Yes.
The bacon,
Yes.
the ice cream.
They
I know,
upped the
me too.
food game on, Ooh, now I'm hungry.
I was like, they look good.
Throughout all the things that happened this week, the most exciting thing is the food.
I almost
Yeah.
That
texted
was
you
on the
guys. I
show.
almost texted the girl. I was like, "Do you see those French fries?"
They look good. They look good. She was chowing down. She was chowing down. She was like eating them fries.
That bacon did look
That'd
good.
be good.
With her dipping sauces.
I know.
I was like, "Is she gonna double dip?" I was like, "Wait, I should probably pay attention to what
She
they're
did. She did once. She did once today. She was
Well,
eating her feelings.
Well, speaking of paying attention, back to the wedding.
Oh my God.
I am glad though that that Steve is stepping in to
Yes.
kind of help Jada figure out, what's going on. And he was like, all right, let's think of the source. It's EJ. And so they're kind of putting their minds together.
Do fans know why? Because Marcus is his best friend, and he was.
Yes. Yeah. They
Yeah.
have they have gone through that.
He walked her.
Oh, okay,
down the-
good.
That's why he was the one
Yeah.
to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's good. But I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
That was a good thing. The nod to the actual history
Yes.
between
Yes.
the families.
But now that you're here, James, we don't know who Jada and Talia's mom is, right?
No, we don't.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
We don't.
Okay.
No.
We know Marcus had anything going on because he was trying to get with Kayla after Steve died.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
Yeah,
vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why did they
Preferably
always
the
do that back
Fox if
then?
they
Always
bring it
make it turn
out.
into best friend. It
That's right,
never
there was
worked out.
It never worked out.
Campaign did it.
Yeah. They did the same thing with, didn't they do the same thing with Shane and Kimberly
Yeah,
and
they
Kayla?
met Kayla. Yeah, I know.
Well,
They did the
fingers
same thing
crossed
with
that they
Abe
bring
and Kayla
Vivica
for
Yeah,
Fox
they
back.
did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were going
Yeah.
for
They
Abe
were
and
going
Kayla.
there.
Yeah.
uh-huh. And then they went
No.
I appreciate that Steve has a brain this time, because he's like, ever since the black patch thing has been happening, they haven't been successful. Not gonna lie to you. Now he's using his brain and he's pinpointed like, oh, something ain't right. EJ, the connection. I was like, good for
Yeah.
you, Steve. Thank God.
Well, to Justin's point, Steve wasn't around for the original Arnold incarnation, so this would be brand new to him, but I still give him a better shot at figuring this out than anyone else.
Mhm. Yeah. Good for him.
well, I guess that's enough about that.
I just want to know. I want to know some details. Like, what's missing for me is like, okay, what did on case A, what is the alleged whatever. On case B, what is the alleged infraction? On case C, what is the alleged? It's also general now.
I don't think we're gonna get.
And then
I don't care.
I mean,
Fabricated.
true. It would add a little extra layer
No,
to
it
the
wouldn't.
girl. Okay.
Tammy is like, no, there is
She's like,
nothing
no.
that will
She's like-
ever make
She's
this
like, you know what
better.
would make this better? Not anything, bitch.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I agree, because I hate to see Jada, who is like the best police force commissioner person they have had on the show, like in Salem for
In
ever,
decades.
right? In decades, right?
So good.
And it's disheartening to see this happen to her, but eventually she will come out stronger, and
Yeah.
she will survive.
But you
all
also-
soap operas, police commissioners go through this stuff like Anna and
Yeah.
Watcher Hospital.
Yeah.
So it's always a
Bring 'em
thing.
down.
They bring him down and they bring him back up. So,
But
I
I
had another point to make, but go on.
I just feel bad for Jada, because I feel like, now that she has the support of Steve, like I felt like she felt alone for a second,
Absolutely.
right? Like
Yeah.
she was just like, why is no one believing me? Like I would not do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think for her, probably going back to that time where she's stepping in as police commissioner, Rafe is in a coma. So she has to like be strong for Rafe, and she has to be strong for the department. So she's not thinking about cutting corners. She's thinking about how to hold on to everything. Meanwhile, she's like slightly falling apart. And there's no one there to be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then now you got EJ being like, you're corrupt. And she's like, where is this coming from?
right.
Like, I'm just trying to get married.
And Jada's had like a rough, like ever since she's been in Salem,
Ugh.
she's had a rough, like the thing with Eric going back to getting pregnant and
Yep.
the abortion,
Barbarette.
and then don't forget her sister came to town,
Her
poisoned
sister.
everybody.
Yeah.
She had to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And
Those
so
sisters.
this was her moment to finally like be happy, be content, and it's very disheartening that EJ in his prick little mind. It's just one of those moments. It's like, EJ, you can do better, but it's
His
just
hair
not.
can't though, because his hair looks
Dan's hair look good.
Oh, he can get it.
I mean,
Get it. Damn, feel good, you can get it.
Let me tell you, if I
Yes, you can get it. Oh, he's hot.
if I were Belle, I would be doing the exact same thing that
me
she's
too.
doing right now.
She's like, no, we can't. We got no.
And it's like, no. Hand down the bag.
Exactly. She's like, no, yes. She's like, no, yes, no, yes.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's a tall drink of water too.
Dan Furigal, we love you.
Oh, we do, Dan Furigo. We love you.
A lot, apparently. There's a lot of love in here for you, Dan. There's a lot of love.
And the accent. And
But doesn't it- but-
Dads.
But doesn't it like? Wait, are we going to talk
We're
about
gonna
this
talk about it
later?
later, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
then
we
I'll
are,
hold
Oh,
yeah.
that.
sorry, that's later.
I'll hold
Yeah.
that. I'll hold that.
It's like,
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else with this storyline?
Well, no, because the reveal happened and then it was dropped for the rest of the week, so
Yeah.
we didn't really get a pickup of any. We saw Jada at her house,
Yeah,
like
they picked it up on Friday. Yeah,
a little bit.
with
Yeah.
her and Steve. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, true.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the case. They know something's up. They're trying to put the pieces together, kind of.
Yeah.
So
I
And
thought that was
then-
early in the week, yeah.
Rafe is now, or Arnold is now commissioner. He took the job. It's the EJ part that doesn't make sense to me. Like, if she disliked EJ before and had issues with him, legitimate issues with him, and Belle's there, Belle's competent. Why would she I understand the switching out Arnold for Rafe, that part makes sense, and getting him in as commissioner. I don't understand why Paulina would just say, screw you, Belle, I'm gonna hire EJ back, who she doesn't like. Like, that part of the plan is not making sense to
Paulina
me.
didn't even have Jade's back. I mean, there was no support at all. So I don't know.
I feel like her hands were kind of tied where I feel like she believes her, but she's also like, I have to
I have to look
investigate.
into it at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have to like do my due diligence as the mayor. I think she's more like 70-30. Like, I believe you, but girl, I still, stranger things have happened in Salem. I still gotta,
I guess I wanted more of it. It's gonna be okay. I guess.
Yeah, we could have got more of that.
We could have gotten that like as a sidebar, like
Yeah,
just
no,
just
true.
like I know, but we need to
yes.
make sure everything's settled, because if something's not, then the blowback will be.
Well, she has to do her job as mayor to like thoroughly investigate. I think somewhere deep down inside, she believes that there's nothing that Jada did wrong, but I think you're presented with evidence, so you kind of have to be like,
Yeah,
I have to look through it and see what's what.
I did think she caved on the source though a
She
little too
totally
quick.
did.
She
Yeah.
caved way. I was like, make him give you
Yeah.
someone, either if it's a name or like, I didn't say he could have said like a private investigator or I won't reveal. Like, that was a little clunky there. I thought
Well,
she caved on
she
that.
caved on that, and then she also just right away felt like she had to fill the police commissioner position.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to wait until like
Wait a day.
Take a beat.
yeah, just take a minute.
Pressure
Wait a
for
couple
city
days.
Yeah. Okay.
I have city council breathing down my neck.
She's about to throw her shoes at them.
She doesn't wear
Sorry.
Such a good
the
line.
shoes. She doesn't wear.
The shoes. Where did those shoes go? Okay, so because this is me, and of course I would be the person that's wondering this. So when Paulina walked in, the first thing I thought was, girl, don't look at the screen, because of what he was looking at right before she walked
Oh, I
in.
didn't
And I
thought
was
about
like,
that.
did he turn the TV
I thought
off?
he
Did he
turned it
just
off.
pause?
No, he
Yeah.
turned it. Or he turned it on. There was a remote and a click. So
I thought
the
that.
presumption
I
to
thought
me
he
was
put
he
the
turned the
volume
OnlyFans
down.
off.
See, I thought it was just the volume.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
I was like, Paulina about to walk in and see some girl bent over
Okay.
and showing the world. But she didn't say nothing, so I figured she didn't see anything.
So many
Now
things
who's
that-
doing the bending?
That's his.
That's his.
image.
Now Paulina asking who's doing the bending.
Are you doing the bending? Are you gay? How you gonna ask me a question like that? Oh, so you doing the bending? Oh, that clip will
that's
never get
hilarious.
old.
Oh my god.
All right, so I think we have chatted about that storyline enough.
Yeah. Oh no.
Uh, Let's move on to our next storyline, which is you get a spritz, you get a spritz, and you get a spritz.
Yeah. This is
I'm-
He's like, I'm done. Thank you, Mike.
No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, where you going? You can't.
We
You.
saw the ham hocks. Hold on.
You forgot you set up, didn't you? You thought you was at your house in front of the green screen. Not today. Not today.
He took red. You saw the ham hocks. Ham hocks.
All right. So clearly we're talking about the soap within a soap, body and soul.
Oh.
Well, listen, the great thing about this was we got to see Kim Coles as nurse. Yeah, so that was great for a day.
Yeah.
So
Reveal.
it was literally like one short day in Salem for her.
I love Kim Coles. I love that when she was on before. She
Yes.
really sells like the kookiness
Yes.
that this character's supposed to have.
Yeah.
This whole situation, that whole episode, Wednesday's episode was one of the worst I've seen of this show in a long time. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, it just, the whole situation, how it went down, how she was able to do all of this, I guess from her room.
I know.
Was it ever explained?
Yeah, no,
Like,
it was
was
from her
like,
room.
Did
was
she
still
pay
in
off?
Bayview.
Did she pay off to like send this stuff? Was she given an out to go to the post office to send
I
all this
know.
stuff? Like,
Jordan's always been.
and it was
That's
just
true. That's true. Yeah.
it was just very, very clunky for me, and
Scripts.
So what? So
she
what,
just air printed from her phone that she's probably not supposed to have.
I know.
so why was I the only one that was like, they touched the scripts. Ooh, who's gonna fall out now?
That part of it I liked. The
Yeah.
Kim Coles part, I was like, oh, they're bringing her back, and then it was like,
That's
okay,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a little clunky. And did anyone else think they shot it like I feel like they were shooting it like it was body and soul? Because remember when Abe was like, I know who it is.
Oh
They
yeah.
immediately did the cut, and she turned around, and Abe was standing there, and I was like, is this a dream or something?
Well,
It was weirdly shot the way they shot it. And I was
Yeah.
like, are they trying to do like a body and soul play on this? Like
my
the reveal is also
my
soaked or
visual
something?
attention wasn't on the
Yeah.
TV in that moment. I assumed they just did a dissolve, like a time
was
pass
a time pass.
dissolve, but no,
Mhm.
they just cut.
They cut, and then they cut back to her, and she turned around, and Abe was there. So it was like, I know who
Oh.
it is. I'm gonna go there, and then they
Clunky.
cut, and
But
he was
before that, they
standing
kind
there.
of made you think it was Leo because of the gloves. And then there was
yeah.
a scene with Leo, and he had the gloves.
Oh, that's
on.
why it was
Yeah,
gloves.
yeah, and
I saw
everyone was asking, well, why does he still have his gloves on
Right.
inside? And then I was like, because they didn't want him touching the
That's
script.
what yeah.
So that's why he had his whole ensemble
Yeah.
with the gloves. So that way he doesn't touch the script.
Yeah.
He talked to Hattie way too long.
That was hysterical.
way too long.
Oh,
No, it was not, Tammy.
He's testing
Oh,
the
he's-
glove.
I
It's
like
like-
those two.
I was like,
Oh,
call the
I know,
ambulance.
like-
Yeah.
Call an ambulance, and
Yeah.
it just went on way too.
Well,
long.
y'all know that they don't ever
Oh.
call an ambulance right away. Like
Yeah.
those people fall out, and two
well,
scenes later, they still there.
Well, and apparently there was some big shit happening where the ambulances were taking long, but the hospital didn't look that busy.
The hospital became busy when all those body and
Those
soul
bodies.
All I
cats
saw,
came
Yeah.
all I
rolling
saw
in.
were the standard doctor and nurse at the station and Sarah, and then I was like, "Where are these other people?"
They're in the rooms. They're
Yeah.
They're on the other
There.
floors.
defibrillator. Whatever doctors do.
I just
You know, there's only one
appreciate.
ambulance.
But mind you, Alex didn't have to go to the hospital. They got talked to over the
I
phone,
know,
like this is what you do,
right.
and then he had a
Yeah.
little, and I was
Well,
like,
his homeboy, that guy, he got two scenes.
Yeah.
Mr. Black Man.
The
got
travel-
two
the
scenes.
traveling
Yeah.
nurse?
Yes.
Oh,
he got
yeah.
two scenes. He was like, I got my little shot. He left. He went to a place. Got his side. He left.
House
Go house call. I'm like, okay. I'm like, wow.
oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same traveling nurse
Yeah.
dude.
It was the
Yeah.
He
paramedic.
treated-
Yeah.
He treated Hattie and then he treated
Yes.
Alex. Is that how? it
Yeah.
was?
Yes. Yes.
Let me tell you, that traveling nurse was traveling so fast that I did not. I looked up and there was, and I was like, okay.
He got two scenes and
Yeah,
lines.
and
He
lines.
did
Yeah.
got like a
Good
line.
for him. Yeah.
But folks, I mean, I just want to say this, folks, because I was like, I haven't watched the show in a long time. I was like, so they continued the body and soul storyline. They're all actors, and Abe's a producer. Like, what the f? I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
We said this would have been a great Beyond Salem Chapter 3.
yes, there you
Yes.
go.
Kind of
Yes.
do all that, and
Yes.
then when they brought it to the main show, it could have just been talked about, like,
Yeah.
oh, I
There you
just
go.
leave
Like
the
it's
set.
another
Oh,
workplace, like tight
Yes.
end.
yes,
I like that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I would have enjoyed them just like every now and then having a scene of body and soul, them watching it on TV,
Yeah.
and then
Referencing
They
like
made
I'm going to
referencing
work
it, I'm
today.
going to-
Or, yeah, I just came back
something
from
other
those
than this.
scenes,
I applaud the attempt to make a storyline out of something that was well received from another storyline.
Yeah.
Like everybody loved but the fact that I think what people loved about Body and Soul when Whitley had Abe kidnapped
Yeah.
was the fact that it was like done up
Yeah.
Yes,
It was done.
very,
It was done up like the big hair. the
very
big-
80s.
It was
Yes.
funny. And
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was like I was like, I appreciate this so much. And I see they were like, oh, fans are loving this. We should
No.
do something with this.
No,
Good attempt.
no.
You know, it was a good attempt.
Good idea
but
and
a
good attempt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
it just-
felt like Michael Mattis actually when I was watching it. There was too many winks in it for me.
Oh my
Michael.
god.
It was
The whole
like
storyline's
a
a
little
big.
little dab will do you here and there. You know, Michael. You know what I'm
No,
telling you.
no dabs will do me.
There was a lot of dabs in there. It was,
No,
like,
no.
it was like Jason's 32
Oh.
and Soap Hub.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
where
I
was-
was like,
Yeah.
Where
Jason's
was
32 was
that was the other one. Jason 37.
yeah.
I think it's
Mentioned soap
47.
opera-
I
Jason's
realized
47.
it's 47.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
they
realized
said
it's
They
37.
said
yeah.
37.
Uh,
So there was Soap Opera Digest, Soap Twitter.
Yes.
Where was Dishin Body and Soul? Where was the
I know.
podcast
That's
reference?
what I said. I said
Hello.
that Tony. I said just said Dishin Days or something. Like,
Where
okay
was
with it.
the podcast
Yes.
reference? Because you have a podcast dedicated to your show.
Yes.
And Body and Soul could have easily had a podcast
easily.
dedicated.
Oh yeah.
It probably
easily.
would have been run by that freaky but good looking Carrie dude. But a mention would have been appreciated since you literally mentioned
Everybody
Sure
else.
did. I mean, everybody.
You know
Soap
what?
Hub?
You know what would have been great is if, like, you know, they had brought us in
To do with care.
to do that as if we were like, oh, this just in from Lady Whistleblower, y'all.
And they go, weren't you Terrence?
I was.
Another wink wink.
Wink, 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 wink. I felt like you, Michael. I was like, I like a little wink, but it was too many
I've
winks.
I've never liked them, and that's all this storyline has
That's all it
been.
is.
And it's
Yeah.
so like they really drive it home too. And I'm just like, oh,
It's hard to do in comedy. It's hard. I mean, comedy
oh yeah, for
is
sure.
hard to do, and I think
Yeah.
they were trying to be really comedic. It was just in small dose. It was fun.
There's not, and I mean, I hate to say it, but there's very few people on the canvas who can do it and do it well. And these are the people that have had the experience, and I'm talking decades on the show. Because comedy, like, I don't touch comedy for that reason. It's a craft. It is so much harder than drama, and so
It's
you
easy
have
for
to,
me.
yeah. So you have to give it to the people who can do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what? They do comedy really well for Halloween. The Halloween
Yes.
episodes I always
Yeah.
find
Well,
very
we expect
entertaining and,
that.
and humor. They sell
Yeah.
it well.
Yeah.
Well, you know what episode wasn't funny was the one that they were reading when Alex was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wait, what's the air date of this? Because everyone was
yeah.
dying. He was like, oh, it's the April Fool's. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
those ones are
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
funny too.
yeah,
I
but
actually hate
they're
them.
funny, but they're not that dramatic.
I do.
I
hate
liked
them.
the because this past Halloween episode was body and soul based.
Mhm.
I cracked
Oh,
up
okay.
so much, and I was like, "This is how they should have had body and soul in the main show as the Halloween episode because it was funny." And like Judy Evans, especially for whatever
Yeah,
reason,
Judy
her
was-
reactions just tickled me because
Mhm.
like it was.
How was
hysterical,
she?
You saw it.
Wait a minute. So they did
Replay.
a LA Law thing with her. They had her fall down an elevator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they talked about how it was from LA Law,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
what somebody else had redone it, and so Leah went on and on and on for like 5 minutes about how it was a redo
How
of a redo of a redo.
Yeah, because I remember when I remember the LA Law episode. It was a shock. We saw it. I saw it live when it happened. I'm like, wait a minute, they did it to her too. I'm like, okay, NBC. It was all NBC.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what though, Judy Evans is having the easiest time right now.
been
All she got to do is lay there.
That was one of the funniest.
That
scenes,
was.
though, her and Hattie.
Yes, that was funny.
everything
But-
was in her
Bon
eyes.
Bon.
Oh,
What I like
Bon,
though
bon, bon, bon.
was that as Hattie was going over her lines with Bonnie,
Yeah.
Kayla was going over her
That
lines
ending
with
was
Steve,
good,
so it
yeah.
was going back
Yes,
and
it was
forth.
good.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the stuff surrounding it. Like the Johnny Chanel stuff was good. I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that they
okay,
finally
yes.
got it together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chanel finally came
Well, before we get to
around.
that, I just want to make sure Judy Evans is so underrated. I think
She is.
she's
Oh
such
my
a great
gosh, she's
actress.
amazing.
I miss Adrian, bring her back. But anyway, but she's good as Bonnie. She's good
Mhm.
also. I mean, she's
Yeah.
good at
Yeah.
both. She's such an underrated actress, I think.
Mhm.
And she's one that can do the you're talking
She
about
did
like
comedy
hard-
and drama.
comedy
oh,
and drama.
Yes.
just
Yeah.
the best.
Mhm.
Oh my
She's been the
God.
shining light of the body and soul stuff. They've actually been really
Oh.
giving her good stuff. To
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about delusional Seth Burns?
Do we have to?
I like him. I like Seth.
who is
He
he
makes-
too?
Do
I'm
we
like,
have
who is he?
to?
I like that they turn his character comedic because in the past he's always just been the administrator to bump heads with the chief of staff. So I like his quirkiness, his silliness.
He was
No,
upset. He said, "How you gonna kill me off when I was
The
just
diva.
like I was good,
Yes.
and I allowed this to be filmed in the hospital?"
Yeah.
And poor Sarah had to just sit there and be like, "Yes, I agree."
I can't.
Lindsay's another one that can do the comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just kind of like with her slight facial expression,
Yeah.
you know
Yes.
exactly what she's thinking.
That's
Little
her.
arch of the
It's
brow.
Down to the brow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I was just like, I mean, what's going on? The hospital fired you? No, body is
Right,
like,
right.
okay. It's her own face. It's like, oh.
She was starting to get excited for a
She
minute.
was,
like,
yeah.
oh,
She's
you're
like-
out the door?
she's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that her expression
Yes.
changed quickly when she realized, "Oh, you're talking about body and soul? I thought you were talking about the
She's like,
hospital."
girl,
Don't
it's like,
matter.
girl.
And then she just had to stand there and just be like, "Yeah, oh, okay, yes. Oh no, they didn't do that to you. Oh, right when you were getting good. Well," and tried
And
to
then you
offer
went
some
with,
advice.
I went from an under 5,
Yeah.
which is blah blah blah. I'm like, we know. Just-
I'm with you, Michael. I'm with you now.
Well, the everyday people don't know. They're
Yeah, they
also
don't- yeah.
learning about the industry
They don't
through
need
body
to
and
know.
soul.
They don't need to know.
And
They
that's
can look
Tammy's
it up
point.
and they don't need to know.
They can look it up. You said look
You
it
can
up.
look it up.
Look it up.
And they
Here's
can
my
Google it.
Madonna
Okay,
mug.
Google.
Yes.
Dual fan in the chat said, "So there's Day of Days. Where's Body and Body?"
Body of body.
Body of body.
Lord.
And then
That's
poor
good.
Joy. Oh, poor Joy.
I forgot about her too, actually. I was like, oh my God,
Poor
so she had
Joy.
poison too. I was like, oh.
I did.
Everybody
Poor Joy.
forgot
She
about
was
by
just
herself.
I
forgotten.
totally forgot about her.
So how do we all feel about Joy?
I like Joy.
I loved her up until this week
Oh.
Why?
because she became the one thing that every girl says she's not going to do when she falls for a guy. She became that girl.
Yeah.
She
she did.
yes,
Yeah.
that needy. We're together for Valentine's Day, so we
Mhm.
should celebrate Valentine's Day, girl. It's like we all say we're not going to be that girl, and then there's that one guy that will just turn your head, acts like your hero.
Well, we know
And-
why her head got
Oh.
turned.
Among other
M-
things.
M-
Oh, yeah.
Does he have an MD or an MP or what was it? What's his
Oh,
name?
MP.
MP.
Yeah.
MP.
Does he
Yeah.
have an MP?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
sure, yes.
Apparently, everybody in Salem has one.
Yep.
I mean,
I
it's
was-
it's like a
She's-
Disneyland
she's-
ride. Everybody
she's
getting
also-
a turn.
She's all, she's all,
Have
but
you
she's
been
also
to
young.
Disneyland lately? You don't get a turn on every ride.
Oh.
You
You
can
gotta
if you
get the
want to.
lightning. You gotta get the lightning back.
You gotta get a lightning
You
pass.
gotta pay for that. You gotta pay for that.
Everyone in Salem has a lightning pass.
Okay. You got to pay for it. You say I pay for
Just because
it.
they got a rod, don't mean it's lightning.
Oh.
Lightning
Y'all-
rod.
I got it. I totally got it.
So, Joy, yes, we enjoy her.
Yeah,
You
enjoy
enjoy
it.
it.
I was
Enjoy
kind
it.
of hoping she was gonna die.
Oh my God, Timmy.
Because she was, again, I haven't tuned in for so
Yeah.
long, so
Yeah.
this was literally my introduction.
Oh, that was
to
your
her.
Yeah.
introduction.
Me too.
And
Me
I
too.
thought, if this is this, I hope nobody.
That's
finds
been the
out that-
outlier.
Yeah.
She's kind of been
Oh.
like really cool.
Oh
really,
no, 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 no! I've
Yeah.
loved her all up until this week.
Okay. So
Um,
like she's Nancy and Craig's daughter,
She,
right?
Yeah.
she totally
Yes,
is Nancy
yeah.
So I was like,
Craig's
she better be
daughter.
something.
Yeah.
They had potential with her. They still have potential.
They
with
still
her.
have
Okay.
potential.
They do.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
She's
this.
walking down the hall with the IV.
I know.
Well,
I'm
did
like,
you-
girl, don't be.
Well,
don't
no,
be
the scene
pathetic.
before
Yeah.
things are turning for her. She's
Mhm.
she's getting. I feel like she's turning into schemer when she was laying it on thick
Yeah.
with Alex. Like she knew that they were
That would be
together
good. If
in
that
the
would be good.
hospital bed
That'd
when
be
she
good.
was
That's
looking
more
at them.
Nancy and Craig
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
Yes,
what I'm
that's
saying.
Nancy
Yeah.
and Craig. Yes.
She was looking at them like something's going on here, so let me play up the damsel in distress.
Did y'all just
yeah,
meet in the hallway or
she
something?
totally did that.
Yeah, we met in the hallway. That's what happened.
She's gonna be
I was
the
like,
obstacle
ooh,
to
I was
that.
like, ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Listen, those wheels were turning for somebody who was laying there for that long after being poisoned.
I know.
because she was like, "Wait, why you both?"
said,
brought
"Oh,
me
y'all were
in?"
together?
Yeah,
Well,
because
you
you
know,
left
they-
my bed 3 hours ago.
Okay.
Why- how were you to get? Okay,
You
yeah.
said you were going to bed because
Yeah.
you had to go to bed early.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
And you said you ran into each other in the hall. Oh, yeah, in the
then the-
hallway.
the-
Yeah.
the other-
okay.
If 2 + 2
Yeah,
equals
yeah,
4,
yeah.
and 5 + 5 = 10,
Yep.
you and Stephanie being together don't make sense.
Don't
Tony.
Don't add up.
This was the one time you could have had your whiteboard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh! Okay, you know what? Actually, the whiteboard is here.
I was like, where? I saw it.
It's just
when we
over
got
there.
here. Oh,
But you know
no.
what's still on it? What had happened to Sammy or something like that.
I was looking up. I was like, "Where's this from?"
Yeah, yeah.
Whiteboard was
Oh,
In addition to not liking how Joy was acting this week, I'm not liking how
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Stephanie
I was gonna ask
Stephanie.
you what your thoughts were.
And she even addressed it. She's like, "Oh my god, I hate being this girl," and I'm like, "Then don't."
Oh my
don't
God.
Them together?
Alex and
I like
Stephanie?
them.
I
Yeah.
like them together.
Snooze fest.
I like them.
Oh.
It's incest.
Snooze fest. I said
Oh,
snooze fest.
snooze fest,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. There's nothing that anybody can say that's going to get me on board with that
Araceli's
couple.
never been on board.
I've
with
never been on board with them. I've given them chance after chance to show me that they have really spot on chemistry, that they're a couple that can really
She is
stand on
serious.
their
I
own.
love it.
Nothing. There's nothing that they can do that's going to get me on board with them.
So then, who would you rather see Stephanie with?
Literally anybody else. Here's the problem is that Stephanie is not like a secondary character in my mind.
She said
She
literally
is a
anyone else.
legacy character. She's the daughter of one of the biggest couples in Days history. She's the daughter of a super couple. And this girl is we've also seen her pretty much grow up on the canvas. She's had an extensive romantic history. At this point in her life, in her trajectory on the show, she should be way far miles ahead. If she doesn't have kids and is married, she should be well on her way because that's the kind of person that she is. I feel like it's such a disservice to Steve and Kayla's daughter of all people to just have her be a prop for Alex.
I feel like music should have started playing. Like when people get on a soapbox and like after a while, like someone starts playing like some sort of music underneath, and it's like very that
Trying to play
powerful
her off.
moment that.
That rate is brought to you by Araceli Aviles.
Right.
Tia says live and in color.
Mhm.
I mean,
I like her. I like them.
let
I don't-
her do what she wants to do.
I don't mind them.
Yes.
I want Alex to do better. That's
Is
my
he
thing.
capable of it?
What's wrong with Alex?
Why is he still diddling?
Yeah, he shouldn't have slept with Joy this week if they were
There you
already
go.
talking
That's
with
it.
Stephanie. That was a
Exactly.
little weird.
I was waiting
yeah.
for somebody to bring that up. The
Yeah.
fact that he ran literally from Joy's bed to Stephanie's door. Nobody
even
found that
before-
curious.
Last week, though, when they had that conversation and they were getting on terms with each other,
Mhm.
and then they come to this week and he's in bed with Joy, and it was like, oh, okay, like
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like I thought you were trying to get things going with Stephanie again.
Well, he was
That part was
only
weird.
with Joy because he thought Stephanie had moved on with Philip. So I mean that's what
No, but
happened.
last week she
No, not
said-
this week.
This week he knew that Stephanie.
Yeah, they had talked about
They
it.
had talked about it. They had
She
had a
told him
conversation.
how she felt. They were on
And
their
And then
way
they
to
got interrupted
reconciliation.
by something.
Yeah, they
and
got
then,
interrupted by something, and then he went back to Joy's bed.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is not necessarily a knock on Alex. I actually do think they both can do better. I don't think that they are a match made in heaven.
Well, I think what happens with these couples is when they first get together, I know you ain't been on board since this, but like when they first get together, it's like, oh, this makes sense. But then the show does all this
Mhm.
to like mess them up.
Alex and
Messy.
Stephanie started
Messy.
over 2.5 years ago. It's been right.
Has it?
Yeah.
Because it started days.
Has it been
because-
that long since we argued about that cell phone?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, and
Something to bring up
that's
later.
when they were trying to put her with Chad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
that was
remember
that was the triangle. It was Chad, Stephanie,
Yeah.
and
Right, I remember
Alex.
that.
And Chad was only 3 months into his widowered.
And trying to
After-
move on. We didn't like
Yeah,
that.
we're trying to say that. Well, they're not really cousins. They're cousins by
Adoption.
But were they raised together? And I think they weren't.
No, they weren't.
Right.
No.
That's the whole thing. They weren't. You know what I'm saying? Aren't they related? It wasn't that an age.
Well, look who's
You would, I was
related.
like, you would know.
They should, yeah.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. They look
It should have been
like-
off limits to begin with.
Yeah, just
But it's soap opera.
a,
Yeah.
a bad idea all around.
Yeah.
But I guess they're gonna give it a good old try.
Well, not if Joy has anything to say about it.
I mean, I
She's the
feel
Rosa
like
Turner
I'm
with
hoping
her-
that we get devious
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Wesley
we're- yeah.
joy,
Yes.
like
Yes.
Wesley-esque
Yes.
joy.
Yes.
Not, excuse me, Chloe never really had it, but she was not raised
She did
by.
sometime.
She did every
Once in a while.
Every
She was
once in a
raised
while,
by
but it
Daniel.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel natural for
No.
that character.
No.
For
Well-
this young spark of a girl,
Yes.
yes.
Well, maybe this will spark that in Joy to
Mm-hmm.
be a little more devious because she's probably at this point like, I'm sick of y'all. Like,
Uh,
I came to Salem,
Yeah.
minding my business. Then I meet up with this guy in the bar, hook up with him. Turns out, his wife, and all that mess.
Yeah.
Now you got Alex, Blue Bunny, and everybody, and she's probably like, I'm over it.
I'm really waiting for our fans to one day just give us a box of Blue Bunny ice cream. It's
Oh,
gonna
I would
happen
love
one
it.
day.
If anyone wants to send Blue Bunny ice cream,
It's
please
gonna
let
happen.
us know. It's so good.
She loves it.
Oh, it's so good.
Places?
Only the swirl though, the
Places.
cone with the chocolate
Like,
swirl.
she places where you get ice cream. I don't know.
The grocery store.
I don't know where.
Bonds, pavilions, routes.
Ooh, pavilions. Okay, was there anything else in here that needed to be discussed?
I hope they bring Kim Coles back at a later date and give her a proper storyline. I think she can do really good work. And
Yeah.
Oh, I have to laugh because when Paulina showed up, no heifer. Or
Oh,
whatever,
Oh yes.
I did
I
have
was
to
like,
just.
should they say that?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
but it was like you saw the cutaway. It was like all of a sudden she was like,
she
I'm
was
like,
there. Yeah.
I was like, no struggle, no like nothing. I'm like, I was looking for some kind of like, no bitch, whatever. And like, and then it was like, no, I watch heifer, and that was it. And then all of a sudden she was changed the bed.
Contained, right?
It's contained. I was like, that's a little interesting.
You know what? I think what would have been better about this storyline is if they just allowed her just to carry it, not with Carrie involved.
Yep.
Because I think the whole Carrie thing kind of didn't make sense for him to be like this as obsessed of a fan as she was.
Mhm.
But I think if they just allowed her just to carry it throughout, and you know what? I mean, even let it go a little bit longer, before a big reveal. And maybe if they wanted to include Carrie, like Carrie was almost like what
Terrell.
what was it? Yeah, Terrell,
Jerry.
Jerry. Like what Jerry was to her then,
Mhm.
Carrie would be to her now.
Yeah, that could have been nice.
And he was the one kind of executing this plan along with her.
And they could have both been doing, like, she was on the inside doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He was doing it through Lady Whistleblower.
Yeah.
And they were like working as a
Yeah.
team. That would have been interesting.
I almost wonder if they obviously weren't getting negative viewer feedback yet, because I don't think
They are now.
they are now, because they filmed this
Stretched 8
however
months,
months ago. So it
Yeah.
just started airing like 3
Yeah.
months ago in October, like 4 months ago in October. I'm wondering if like they were getting feedback from others being like, this needs a shift, this needs a shift.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when Carrie came in, and they tried to do. Then they had that whole short arc with Carrie, and then I wonder if they were getting feedback. They were like, "You gotta
Wrap this up.
put this one to bed. This is
Yeah,
not."
this
Somehow
isn't
they were
working.
getting feedback, and then this was their way to start wrapping. Because then they had the scene, and I know we're going to talk about Kate later, but Kate's part of this was venting to Philip about how it's just been one thing after another, and there's been that kind of talk about Body and Soul that it's just been a train wreck. So it's you can kind of see it starting to wind down a little bit.
Yeah.
They did a special mention. I guess I mentioned to folks that history stuff. When she goes, "You're not Henry Marshall," is the character that Abe played, James Reynolds played on the Historic Generation.
Mm.
That was him and
Another
Terrain
wink,
one.
wink.
Yeah.
So another week.
But that was a
that
good
week I
one.
liked. That was a good week.
Yeah.
Is that because this is Black History Month?
Yes.
And it was kind of funny that Generation, but we're about to have a new soap opera start in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm like Henry Marshall. Oh my God, that's the
Yeah.
character he played in the first
Yeah.
Historic.
See, that's how you do a wink wink.
That was a good week. That was a good week. That was a good week.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree that Body and Soul could have been a good idea had it just been done differently.
Yes.
But we are all
And
Kate.
how that differently is,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
But this one,
Oh, we all
good
know.
try, but
Yeah, good try, but no. Yeah, we are all Kate this week. The joy is dead.
Mhm.
It's just dead.
the Joy is dead, and Joy was almost dead.
And
Yeah.
Joy did die.
I did appreciate that.
Sorry,
when she was
Terry.
like,
Yeah.
"The Joy is killed,"
And
and
they-
they
yep.
flashed to Joy.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that was cute.
Yeah.
But I really was like, please don't kill off. Like, there's been
Yeah.
too many close calls where we thought we were going to lose the
Yeah.
character of Joy. Let's
From
not.
birth.
Yeah, from birth. Yeah, right from birth.
From birth. This
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
She has had a hard life. Well, you know what? On that note, she deserves some good
Yeah.
stuff.
Hmm.
I had to
Okay.
stop myself.
Okay, you're like, you're
she
not at
deserves a
home.
little lightning in her
Yeah,
life.
a little
She deserves.
lightning rod.
She
Lightning rod.
she deserves
Lightning
every
rod.
fast
Lightning
pass.
rod.
So let her live.
I'm sorry.
Snort.
I'm sorry. On our shows, we're much more graphic. On our shows. Sorry, we don't care on our shows. Say it.
I mean, there are points where we don't care either. There's only one person on our show that truly cares because, she's of the Lord.
The Lord. The Lord.
Mhm. Although, them the ones that be getting down.
I'm just, well, that Latina Catholics are very different. We're a little more loose.
They're a little more fast and loose with the old Bible.
Yeah.
the old commandment. They're like, what commandment?
Is this?
That's what confession's for.
That one's optional. That one's optional.
There you go. That's a confession.
That makes sense. Maybe that's why you don't do that much because you don't feel like driving to confessional, do you?
I really don't. Even though it takes me 5 minutes to drive to my church,
I was like, she could probably walk
I
to a
told
church
you
in East LA.
I don't like to get up out of my room.
This all makes
I mean,
sense now.
Yes.
Respect. I don't like to get up for things at this stage of my life. On the couch with Bimby as well.
Here I am, up for everything. All right. Well, let's move on to our next storyline, our last top storyline, which is Sarah. Is we finished or is we through? Kyriakis. Let me tell you, this week, Sarah was not having it. Sarah was like, listen, we had a plan. We were supposed to go with that plan. We were supposed to do the plan. What had happened with the plan? Now-
Philip is such a goofball. He's just goofball.
Well, okay.
Yes.
I mean, since we're all here,
We're all here.
and now that you mention it, we've had variations of Philip.
Yes.
Right now, we have a variation of Philip.
Yes.
Are we okay with this variation of Philip? Or are there times where y'all are like, girl?
I love JP's version.
You
I gotta
saw
say,
what he was doing on the floor, right? You saw how he was.
I mean,
like,
he looks good.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
He looks great.
I'm very okay with
However, you should not do rigorous exercise before bed because
Right.
you won't be able to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
that was your point in all of this.
One of them. My other point, he's grown on me. And this happened the last time he came on as Philip. At first, I was just like, okay, dude, like he's grown on me, but there are moments where I want the notch turned down from like 12 to 5. He was kind of mean to his mom this week after she's been on his side, literally behind him, not even 2 weeks ago, or not even 3 weeks ago.
Also, he doing the bending.
Ew.
No!
Oh my
No!
god.
No!
I'm done.
Wrong moment.
That's what happens when we
I
get
love it.
in the same
I love
room.
it.
Yes.
I love it.
Well, since you got your degree,
Blanky thing.
I will say I like this version of Philip.
Yeah.
I like that there are times where he's very serious. There are times where he's, loving. There are times and there are times where he's a little quirky. And I feel like you kind of need that every now and then.
He's another one. We're talking about who can do comedy and who can do drama. He can
Yes.
do both.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But
His time on One Life to Live was
I would
just
say Life to Live,
iconic.
yes, Life
He
to
was
Live.
amazing
He was very good
on
in
One
Life
Life
to
to
Live.
Live.
Yeah.
I did like, there was one moment where he saw Kate, like this weeks ago, he saw Kate calling. He was like, it's mom. And he did this thing with his face where he was just like, hi, mom. And I was like, okay, that's cute.
I love it.
That's cute. But the way he was so extra with Kate
Yes.
when she showed up and was like, I have no one to talk to. And he was just like, okay, come in. I was
he
like,
did. He told us like,
if I were Kate, I would have been like, never
F
mind.
you. F you.
Never mind. I'll go find Paulina. She's busy, but I'll go find her.
Exactly.
Okay, so do we
Yeah, Tony. Yes.
I'm with Sarah. Like, I feel like there was an agreement to not say anything. I will keep quiet as long as you basically keep Xander in line.
Yes.
So not a good idea.
And now, out of the blue, Philip is like, okay, yes, let's take over Demira. And she's like, that wasn't part of the plan.
But specifically, taking
Yeah.
over Demira was not taking over Demira was not in the plan.
Exactly.
The promise was to
the-
keep Xander in line.
Yeah.
In Philip's defense, he's saying there's a way we can take over Demira and keep
Yeah.
Xander in line. The fact that Sarah is so insecure about what Xander is going to do, I'm like, this is just, I love them together, but I'm like, this can't work. This
is so
cannot
wrong.
work. This
Yeah.
is not sustainable. You clearly don't trust your husband.
Yeah.
Like it's just not sustainable.
She just
like,
doesn't
and it's
want him
gonna-
doing
and-
something illegal.
And
Yeah.
she's gonna be the one that gets the blowback.
Totally.
Yeah.
Xander is like we've talked about this before, and about who's he gonna be mad at, whatever. He's gonna be more mad at Sarah than he is with Philip.
totally. Yeah.
Now, is Philip for real scared of Sarah? Because when she was laying into him, he looked.
I think he's
Scared.
starting to.
Yeah.
I think
he
he
was
did.
sta-
Yeah.
in that moment, I think it was more startled because she was. I don't think he saw a little bit of that maybe earlier, but I
Mhm.
think in that moment he was like, oh,
Yeah.
like
He-
she's serious.
Yeah.
Because she was serious.
Well, because people
Yeah.
underestimate her because she's a Horton, but she's been through a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it takes a special kind of woman to be able to handle Xander. So yeah, he's never
Handle
really
Xander.
he's never
lot to
seen
It was lots
yeah,
of
it's a
handle.
lot to handle. And he's never seen so Philip's never seen that side
But I
of
can
her.
handle it.
So
Okay.
now she's putting her boss pants on and saying, "You guys think that you're the boss, but I'm running the show here. So if I see something I don't like, guess what's gonna happen? You're
But
out."
why does she think this is such a good idea?
What is?
Trying
He-
to control Xander.
yeah,
using
it's not.
Philip
It's
to
not.
control
It's
him.
a-
she's
not.
It's not the worst idea though. Phil, I think she jumped the gun a little bit here because I agree with you. I think that Phillips in I don't know, in the sake of peace and working with Xander was like, okay, I understand you want to do this thing, take over Demira underhandedly. Let's try and do it in a different way. And I think that's what Philip is bringing to the table. And I think they're showing him a lot more mature this side. I think old Philip would have jumped right in with Xander to do anything underhanded and crooked. So I think he is trying to do the right thing. He's trying to strike a balance because at the same time, the past couple weeks, we've seen them grow closer and get along. So it's like he can't veto everything Xander wants to do. Like, I think he's also probably enjoying the fact that he's having this nice relationship with his brother. So I think he's trying to strike a balance. And I think she jumped the gun just a little bit because Philip is saying, he's not saying we should do the underhanded stuff you want to do, but also the idea is not bad. So let's kind of figure out a way to do it that, gets us what we want.
she
So,
needs to give it a minute.
Yeah.
She's immediately jumping on him for breaking this agreement they had, and it's like they haven't even done anything
Yeah.
yet.
Well, because
Like,
her mind is thinking like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Like
Then
if
her
you're going
pro-
after the Damaris, then that means that
Yes.
you're going to
Bad
be
things.
doing some things that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And that's
Very
the things
bad
that I'm
things.
trying to
Her
prevent you
her
from doing.
problem is with her husband, and she needs to work that out. That's what she should be doing
This is gonna
instead
get
of.
ugly with the Damaris. It's gonna
Mhm.
get
But I
ugly.
also I still will never understand like why take over Demira Enterprises? Like fix Titan. Like y'all, everyone acts like their
Well-
companies are in great shape. Like everybody's company is a mess. Like fix your
Well,
house before you go to somebody else's house.
Yeah, but actually, to my understanding, they're saying that Titan itself, the company itself, is actually in okay shape as opposed to Demira.
That was the impression I got.
That
That
would-
Demir is the one in trouble.
Yeah, Demira, the company itself, Demira is the one in trouble because it's just gone through so many bad periods, and the board, Kristen's constantly saying that the board has absolutely zero confidence in
Mhm.
her. Whereas at Titan, they at least have they had confidence in Maggie, they had confidence in Xander.
But they still switched hands.
They switched hands, but it was not to people that they didn't have confidence that could take over the position.
Well, and then all the infighting with Demira that happened with Stefan and EJ constantly
That was bad.
pissing
Yeah.
contests with each
Mhm.
other. I was under the impression, yes, that Titan was in better shape with Demira, and that's why Demira was kind of like taking over. Demira was kind of like a low-hanging fruit, in addition to Kristen being sidetracked by little demon Rachel.
little girl.
Little Rachel. So yeah, I think that's why they're just in a good position to take over the company. I think that's why.
Did anyone this week get the impression they were recruiting Kate? I felt like that they were a little bit of that with with the scenes of her complaining about body and soul, and it was like, okay, it looks like this is wrapping up.
Yeah.
She has the talk with Philip. He's sort of going to her advice. They're going to each other for advice,
Mhm.
and then the scene with Xander. That's the one that made me think where
Mhm.
you see that they've been adversaries before, but he definitely respects her business
Oh, yeah.
acumen. And they were talking, and it's like, we're gonna take over, blah blah blah. And he told you this, and she's like,
And
it's fine. And it was like, okay, are they setting this up to Kate
Yeah.
to come back
It
to?
would- It
Yeah,
would
with
make
the-
sense.
yeah.
It would make sense. I know she doesn't have her Demira shows anymore. I know she gave them to
Yeah,
EJ,
they made
but
that
she
clear.
has the
Yep.
history with the
Oh,
Demira. She
yeah.
knows
She
that
does.
family. She knows how they tick. She can match. She has energy. She has Demira
She's
big
the
dick
most
energy.
experienced in
She
the
has
room out of
Yes.
big
everyone
dick
involved,
energy,
yeah.
and so she can go. I feel like she's the one that can go toe to toe and help them achieve it.
I was like, oh, is this what they're doing?
Instead of Kate going back to being Mrs. Brady at
Well,
the
exactly.
pub, the
They
barmaid.
need to give her a storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
And
would
listen,
be
bring Abe
perfect.
along too, because I like her and Abe
Yeah.
together. I like that working relationship. I hope that continues, but bring Abe along too.
Yeah. Well,
So we're
look,
all in agreement for Titan to take over Demira?
I'm interested if they
I'm
do
interested
an
to
old
see
school
how it-
business
yeah.
storyline. I'm interested in that.
I mean, I mean, to Tammy's point, I don't think it's going to end necessarily well, but I do think that if there was ever a time and ever a plausibility that it could be a successful coup, this would be it, especially if you don't just have Philip and Xander. If you have Philip, Xander, and Kate, that's a whole different dynamic.
Just against Kristen right now, yeah.
That's a whole different
interesting.
dynamic.
Yeah.
I can see Lauren Koslow. I now own 51% of Demira Enterprises.
Bring it. Bring it. Yes.
Okay, I love it.
I love it.
Get the
Yes,
hell out of my
Joan.
house. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that's that on that.
That's that on.
That's that on that. Basically, at the end of it, don't mess with Sarah.
Right.
Don't mess with Sarah, but also Sarah, you got another problem. There's a problem. You're not dealing with the right problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is she doesn't trust her husband. She needs to work on that. Like, she's only creating a bigger problem for herself.
Mm. Yeah.
But bless her heart for trying, I guess. God bless her.
Well, bless her. All right. Well, those were your top storylines.
We didn't talk about Kristen.
It's coming up.
That's
coming.
not a top.
Oh,
It's coming.
well, that's a tidbit.
Girl, we're not done
That's-
yet.
yeah.
Like yeah.
That's a
There's still
tidbit.
more.
Yeah. Mhm. I know.
I thought it was the best story of the week.
It was, but
Yeah.
it still
You're
is a
right,
bit.
yeah.
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 Maybe, but it's still.
Oh
wasn't-
yeah. Oh, I will be much more interested in tidbits. Trust me. Mhm.
Well, speaking of those tidbits, before we get to tidbits, just want to remind you guys, make sure you subscribe to. Well, sorry, what did I say? What show are we doing?
You need to do the.
Do-do-do-do.
Take two.
All right, before we get
Body of
into tidbits, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on X, Twitter,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Threads,
Whatever it is.
and
now.
Instagram, all of those. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the subscribe button and the bell notification. Also, find us on your favorite podcast stations. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And also make sure you show some love to that old thing over there, Mr. James Lott Jr. under JLJ Media, where all podcasts can be found.
And me and Tammy did 2 shows together, Bold and Beautiful and Young and the Restless together.
Mhm.
And shout out to Frank Moran, we do
Not a
GH.
pl-
Anything else?
I always play. This is old joke. I always play.
Let me tell you, if you say James before you get the Lott Jr. out, there's a plug.
There's a plug. That was our old joke that whenever my say goodbye was always like, and then JLJ Media,
Mhm.
super organized. I think 5
Mhm.
minutes.
It don't even have to be his show.
Exactly. Exactly.
He could be on somebody else's show.
Oh, I would totally do it.
And anything else you want to plug while we're in a break?
Super organizer LLC.
Are you doing that again?
I've still been doing it.
Oh, you do it? When did I
Did you do it? Did you do it? Yes, I
I
did.
guess. Oh, okay. I thought you.
No,
Oh,
'cause
you
while
stopped
I-
during the COVID.
During COVID,
That-
when
oh,
you
man,
asked me
that
one
was a
time,
while
it was one
ago.
time. Yeah, it was one time ago.
Feels like yesterday.
Everything feels like yesterday.
Get our own little car.
So many long years ago.
That's part of the history. COVID. That's part of the history. Whew.
Well, speaking of,
Tidbits.
before we get to tidbits, we also want to thank our lovely sponsor of our 10th anniversary show today, Mastermind Media. We're excited about collaborating with them at their podcast studio here in Hollywood, California. But they do so much more than that. Social media management, logos, graphic design, commercials, and digital content production. So if you're looking for a trusted partner to the digital world, look no further. Hit up Mastermind Media and tell them the fine folks at Dishin Days sent you, and you'll receive 15% off your first purchase. So make sure you go to www.mastermindmedia.com. Now let's get on the tidbits.
Woo.
Oh my God, I haven't done a live read
I
like
know.
that
Long
since forever.
That was good.
Well, she still got it. That's going to go on my reel. And no interruption from Mark J. Freeman.
Mark J. Freeman's like, here, interrupt your reel.
I know.
Interrupt your reel.
All right, so let's go into our tidbits with the first one. Three's a company. Bum, bum. I mean, three's a crowd. Bum, 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 bum. I like Three's a company. So we have Belle, EJ, and Sean. I mean, obviously we're excited and fans of Belle and EJ.
Yes.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Isn't it very reminiscent of him and Sammy?
Well, that's the whole point, right?
Is it?
Wait,
Okay.
how so?
So do you think she's gonna blow back into town?
I heard something completely different.
Wait.
Well, no, we know.
We know she's coming back
Oh,
to
yeah,
town.
we already know she's coming back in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was announced last year.
Yeah,
Oh, don't get Tony
It was
started on
announced
that.
Yeah.
It was announced at least 9 months ago.
Yeah.
We've known that. We've known
We
since
woke up.
August.
We woke up in October of 2024
Yes.
to an announcement that we will see Allison Sweeney, Sammy Brady return in April of 2025.
Here we
And
go.
my first thought was, why do we need to know this in October?
Exactly. I agree with you.
I love that moment when EJ says to Belle in bed, "Did you hear something?"
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I was so
Me too.
hard.
But wait, but back to the original question. Does it feel very, because here's the thing. EJ and Sammy both had that fiery
push and pull.
like push and pull, right? Which I feel like that's what Belle and EJ are doing. Well, Belle's like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I just don't know how I ended up at the DeMera mansion and here
And
again.
she's like,
You know,
Right, exactly.
and I mean, she might as well walk in, breast first and be like, I don't know what I'm
What am I
doing.
doing here?
Beaver
Why am I
first.
here in front of you?
But it's like, but
Somebody's got a fur coat somewhere they can lend her.
Okay.
true.
There's a fur coat.
Go back to
Oh,
your
yeah,
man.
somewhere.
But it feels very much like that. So sometimes I look at it, I'm like, I'm into it, but then I'm like, well, am I into it because it reminds me of him and Sammy, or am I into
No,
it
I
because
think-
it's Belle?
I think they have a separate relationship. I think it's separate. They was that's one of the ones they've established over the years.
Mhm.
That they become trusted confidants on so he
Mhm.
doing all the lawyering she's done for him, and he also is an ex-lawyer, so he knows kind of what's going on. So I feel like they developed their own thing in the shadow of Sammy.
it also helps that Dan Fiergel, and we've talked about this, he works with everybody.
Oh,
And he
he
has
does.
chemistry with everybody.
Everybody.
And it's like
Couch,
different, and it's like different. It's different types of chemistry. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like he can like the
Yes.
the brotherly adversary
Yes.
energy, and then
Yes.
the romantic energy, and then like the sexual energy.
Uh-huh.
He can do it all, and I think that's one of the reasons why like anytime they pair him with someone, we're like, yeah, we're on board.
Yeah, we're
Like,
on
him
board.
and Nicole,
Him and Nicole, yeah, him and Nicole.
him,
Oh my
him
God,
and Sherry,
That was awesome.
Gabby,
That
I
was
was like, I
awesome.
don't mind it either.
That works.
And now with
Yes.
Belle,
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, it works for me.
yeah.
Who's next?
I do. I know. Who's next? I do feel a little icky because there's that whole history that we know is gonna come up with him and Sammy, and so it does feel a little bit like Belle with
But-
the,
But but your credit. I mean, Belle knows.
but she, and that's
Oh,
what bothers me
everyone
that
knows,
That's
she,
what bothers you, really.
that she knows and she's still giving it to him.
You said Hurricane Sammy.
I will say
don't
I
mind
like
that
it.
so
I like them
Yes.
together. But I just wish that part wasn't a factor, because that part is the part where I'm just like, Belle.
I
like-
don't think.
and I
it
know her
will
and
be.
Sammy have like the adversarial detention. It I don't know. Part of me
I get it.
gets the ick,
I get it.
No. I don't get it.
and I hate that it does. I hate that's part of it.
Yeah, but as we've said, chemistry can usually erase all of that.
Yeah.
Erases the ick.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Where's the
yeah.
Most of the ick.
Most
There's
of
still a
it.
little bit. There's still like one little iota.
I love being able to see a man and a woman be who they are together. And when these characters,
yeah.
when EJ and Belle are
Yeah.
together, she sees him crystal clear.
Yeah.
You are despicable.
That's,
Yeah.
And a little gleam in his eye, like, yep, pretty
That's-
much.
That's how Lucas and Sammy were.
Lucas
Right,
and
exactly.
Sammy.
Yeah, Lucas and Sammy.
And with EJ, Nicole and EJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole
Yeah.
and EJ knew,
They
knew
knew
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of
Love it.
accepted
Mhm.
that,
Yep.
who they were and whatnot.
And whatnot.
You also have to hand it to Belle when Chanel walked in and was like,
Oh yeah.
like, Belle? Was it Chanel? It was Chanel,
It was
right?
Chanel. She's like,
Yeah, She's like, what
No,
are
it
you
was
doing?
Jada.
No,
Jada.
Jada.
She
Yeah.
wants
Jada.
those croissants. Belle was
Jada-
ready to
Oh,
dig into
Those
this.
croissants look good too.
They did. Those croissants did look
They got
good.
that big box from
Oh, and here
Costco.
we are.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
food again,
Yeah, Costco croissants.
Oh, really good.
But you have to wonder, like, what happens to like do they just like put it out
Probably
like
the-
afterwards?
They
Like
probably,
it's
they
like
probably put it out in the studio for the crew.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
We
people
need
that
to
eat it in the
ask.
green room.
Today's the
Yes,
day to
ask
ask.
Yeah.
them. They do.
and then there's also like when they're like eating breakfast or
Yeah.
like in the pub eating like do they go, okay, well, what do you want to eat? And then they just order that and put it on plate.
If I worked at that show, I would be bringing Tupperware every day and just being like,
Yeah, I sure would. Yeah.
Cocktail and a prosecco.
Always have that. But you have to hand it to her when Jada walked in and she was just like, "Oh, I'm here to see Johnny,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know where he is." As he's just sitting there like,
But
That was so quick on
I-
her
that was
feet.
quick,
was
yeah.
like,
Good for
I
her.
do like that little layer of this storyline because
Yes.
Belle and Jada are soul sisters, whatever. And now, she's diddling the man that is trying to undo her. Bella's, and so that the
"Welcome to
extra,
Salem."
the extra layer
Yes.
of drama, I
Diddle.
guess.
Yeah.
I appreciate
That's
it.
a good one.
Little diddly. All right, well, let's diddle on to the next tidbit,
He's so good
which
with
is
the
second chances. Never lost my touch after these 10 years. We have Kat, Felicity, Chad, and Julie. It was cute. The scene with Kat and Felicity.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I thought it was also cute. Also, like, where did they get that ice cream sundae from?
Yeah.
I think those French fries.
French fries.
are-
French
It
fries.
was
Really
good.
good.
But it was cute how like they were just having a very sisterly
Sister time, yeah.
conversation,
Older
and
sister, younger sister.
and Felicity was like, "I have an idea. Why don't you two share the sundae?"
Yeah.
Felicity was the MVP of this week.
She tried to be a good wing woman.
She
Yeah.
was amazing. And just the eyebrow raises as Kat's talking about her feelings for Chad. She's like, I see what's going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Side note, what's interesting experiencing Araceli in the flesh is that like you really do get
Volume.
very passionate.
Yes.
Like
I
like
love it.
It's a different
Like, I-
dynamic
like,
in
I-
the reel.
I thought maybe she felt like at one point like we couldn't hear her through the StreamYard. But
No,
now,
that's just how she.
now it's just how she is.
She
Because
just gets-
she'll
yeah.
start talking and it's like, and I'm like, well, girl, we just sitting right here. Like,
I when my family gets together, it's like 20 people in a room. I have to fight to be heard.
oh, well, girl, it's just 6 of us.
I understand. I felt
7.
like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
When it's a
That's
Latino
levels.
family, like you
Yes.
have to, especially when the children, like, I told you I had to beat them with pillows over Christmas because they wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we gonna admit that, but you still won't admit what you would do to Rafe.
Rafe.
Because it's a pillow.
She's a raid.
That's how it starts.
It's a
A
I
pillow.
think you were gone.
Then
So
next thing you
do
know,
we want
What would she do to
do
Ray?
we want
Chad.
Kat and Chad together? I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Season,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I don't know the character.
Yeah.
Oh my-
Yeah,
They-
but they need to
they
do something
love
quick.
it.
It's losing steam. They
It is
gotta
losing
pick it up.
It's
Yeah.
losing steam because they've literally only. I was like, oh, this is their weekly episode. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Oh my god.
there's too much breathe.
The
there-
pacing.
Air,
the,
yeah,
the
space
pacing is a
between
little
them,
off.
yeah.
I do appreciate development,
Okay.
but we're at the point where it's like, okay, development's there. It needs to.
So Abigail
Take
is dead. And she's gone. She ain't coming.
Well,
as far as
Yeah.
we know,
As
they
far as we know.
they still ain't found the body. Who got the body?
well, no, we actually think she's alive, and that's why the storyline
okay.
turned out the way it is.
Yeah.
That she's not Abigail because the
Bring back
real one
Marcy
is actually
Miller. Bring
alive.
back Marcy Miller.
Yeah, we
But
think
it-
the real one is alive,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna bring
Okay,
her
so
back
our
at a
show
later
now,
date.
so-
I feel like Marcy
Yeah.
Miller's back mid. She's like, nah, I'm
Well,
good.
Kate's on our show on General Hospital right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Stay there.
Yeah,
She's
she's
seen
doing
that.
it.
Well, but
I
maybe
have thoughts on that, but that's not this show.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Me too.
you're more than welcome to go over to.
TLC Media watch GH3 Spotlight Sundays at 1 p.m.
I'm not sure James is ready for my opinions
Well,
on
I'm
that.
ready. Trust me, I'm ready. Come on over, girl. Come on
Tamara
over.
Judge
Come
over here.
back
Right?
over, baby.
Look, oh, that's my
I
song.
know my song too.
But I feel like there's a glimmer of hope with Chad and Kat because Julie is starting to soften up
Thank
too.
God.
And I think that's what it is. I think now that Marlena is giving her a chance because now she's been hired as the assistant,
All right.
and now Julie is kind of like slowly kind of like
She's in therapy.
yeah, and it's So I think there's a chance, but I think the sting has been the fact that she came to town impersonating Abigail. But again, I feel like she should get grace because everyone knows how Clyde is, and she didn't have a choice. So she was trying to do what she needed to do in order to save her mama.
I think she's starting to get grace, but what always just gets me is the look. That I mean, did anybody see the look that Chad was giving Kat? I mean,
Was it googly eyes?
It was. I don't even know how to describe it. That's the way I want a man to look at me.
Yeah,
That's
he did have the twinkle.
That look. He had that look like
he did in the little smirk. Like
he's trying not to smile.
He was happy to see her.
Yes.
He was happy to talk to her. Yeah. He was definitely happy to be there.
Yes, that look like he walked into her vicinity and he just smiled.
Yeah.
That's that
and
look.
she looks at him the same way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I can see they have so much potential with how, drama with how they started, like you were just saying, like they have chemistry together, they look really good together. It's a good match. There's potential and hopefully we get something from it.
Chad and Kat have the chemistry that Alex and Stephanie keep trying to replicate, and it's not happening, so kill it now.
Okay.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
That's how I feel.
I mean, I don't mind Alex and Stephanie. That's
and
just
then
me.
Julie just the walking up the stairs. It gets to me. It gets to me.
Well, you know why?
We all know what that feels like.
Yeah, but I feel like this. I feel like we're seeing Julie, but we're still seeing Susan.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes when there's still mentions of Doug, I feel like it's almost like she's consistently reliving not only her real life but also her work life, and so it's. You just want to give her a big hug and start singing Always.
But gotta think it's cathartic, though, for her. Too.
Maybe, yeah.
She doesn't have to hide anything.
Yeah.
Susan doesn't have to
everything's
hide
there,
anything.
yeah.
She's just pushing through it.
Yeah,
Doing, like,
yeah.
this stuff, and they're writing that in, and I think that's really supportive of the show.
Yeah,
and
it's
respectful.
her form. It's Susan's form of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Julie's looking like I might go.
I know she just.
I might go back. We'll see. I'm just trying to get some sleep.
Yeah, she didn't commit.
I love that conversation.
Yeah.
Me
It's
too.
so sweet.
Me too.
All right, let's move on to our last tidbit, which is, Mother, is that you?
Mommy dearest.
So it's official. The woman in white is original Rachel.
She's real.
What's
real?
Yeah.
There was
the
the
1990s is going on? I was like,
know.
what was
Yeah.
lady and
Okay.
white? I'm like, what?
All right.
What
It's so
else? Like
It was so different.
the current. What else are they doing?
Okay, yeah.
Other than bringing stuff
Yeah,
back from.
you're right.
Yeah, but this is a opportunity that we needed to get your take on this storyline because I feel like this is your moment.
Because you're old.
I recapped.
Yeah,
it.
you
we told
no,
you.
you
Both-
recapped it. You recapped it, but like I'm still
Confused.
yes.
What are you confused about?
Not about everything that happened, but I just want to get James's take on it.
Because he old. Look who's related.
Look at the you can see. No, there's the thing. So one of the hottest times on the show, obviously, was the 90s. It was the mid to late 90s. It was just like hot, totsy. And this is when we had Peter, and we had Kristen, we had Tony, which obviously was on with the whole other story, but he was Tony. It was Demira Central. It was all about mystery.
Demira.
Yes, we had Celeste, we had Lexi.
Celeste, darling. Hello, darling. I'm getting a premonition, darling.
So big.
That
So
storyline
much.
was really huge.
Yeah.
So the mystery of the woman and why it was a real mystery. Was she real? Was she not? It was imagination. It was this whole thing. Their mother. And so it was a whole mystery on itself that we were on the edge of our breaths and just trying to see like what's going on. It was such a big storyline. That's why I was so shocked. I watched the show. I'm like, wait a minute, they're revisiting that. So that's and that was a popular storyline. Obviously, it was a big storyline. So I'm like, I'm very curious to see what more they do with that. She's the original Rachel.
Yeah.
So there was no resolution back in the day.
Not really.
She died.
She died.
She and Stefano allegedly died in an explosion.
Right.
Stefano reemerged only like 3 months later.
Yes.
But Rachel was never, body was
She was
never
presumed
found.
to be dead.
She was presumed dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
They kind of moved on. But the whole thing is that's why Kristen is part of the family because Stefano saw her as a daughter. And that was the whole thing because of his mother. So But she was mysterious. You know what she was gonna do. It was like this whole
she all she did was walk around the town in her veil,
spook people,
crying
all the time.
Oh,
spook people.
Johnny! Oh. And then
That's
she
creepy.
knew John somehow.
Yes, she knew
We
John.
didn't know how she knew John.
Well, you know that was his storyline,
Yeah.
of course.
It's not the same actress, is it?
No,
No.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if she been
And her scar is gone.
Yes.
She never. I don't know.
She got plastic surgery when she was in Salem. Yeah.
No, she never-
Marlena did. Yeah.
She never. Did she?
Mhm.
Did it actually get done?
I believe he's right. He's right.
Yeah.
She
Because
did.
she
get it
walked
done?
around with the bandage afterwards.
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. She did.
okay. Well, then since she fixed her face, she don't want to fix the house.
I guess not.
So
Also-
we just still gonna be creeping around the house with
Also,
tarp over it and
For
stuff like
those
nobody
that
lives there.
remember, she
How
actually
Dyson
was
run through it.
she was like the angel character to
Yes.
Stefano's devil.
Yes.
So I think that's why a lot of us, and even some of us, thought that she was. We even said on the show we thought that she was a figment of Rachel's imagination because this woman in white, this Rachel Blake, is vastly different from the other Rachel Blake in the 90s. So I think there's going to be some explaining as to why that Rachel Blake from the 90s would never be encouraging
No,
Oh.
because-
Rachel
because
to
it's a
like do this
darker-
stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
because-
darker character, yeah.
because Rachel Blake in the '90s knew when Kristen went nutty and all the things she was doing to
She
John
was
and
trying to
Marlena,
help bring
and she
her
was
away from
trying.
Stefano,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
She was the kind of like the angel
Well,
on
good versus
Kristen's
evil,
shoulder.
yeah.
Mm.
She failed, but
Right.
So there's some things to uncover as to how she's alive, why she
Yeah.
didn't contact everyone,
Why she didn't age?
Yeah, not age.
that was almost 30 years ago.
That was
30
Yeah.
years. She's 30 years older.
And,
Didn't
I
age.
love her hair.
Yeah,
She
hair's
has.
gorgeous.
She got some Botox.
Yeah.
But the thing about this storyline, because it's that's where Ava is tied up and everything like that. And again, I just wish they would stop writing Kristen still so into Brady and wanting to like be with Brady and get people out of the way with Brady. Because when she found the phone and then I have a headache, I can't take Rachel, and then went to the house, she started to untie Ava, and then she was like, wait a minute. And I'm like, nah, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
just don't do this. Just untie her.
Her, Kristen and Brady seem to be in a place that I like, where they're
Right.
not just taking jabs at each other.
Yeah.
They're actually, and I know Kristen's support of the Ava situation is kind of like she doesn't really mean it, but she's trying. And so I was hoping when she found the phone and Brady came in, she was gonna be like, well, our daughter's up to shit again.
It's
Yeah.
like we
And I
have
was like,
another
this
problem.
we have another problem, and have Brady help. But then she did
How
what
you-
Kristen does, and just
Yeah.
like when,
How you gonna be on your way to take your child to therapy, and you still need therapy? Like that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
2
and
plus 2 is
Kristen-
not equals
that's
4.
the mind of a narcissist like
Yes.
Kristen.
Yeah.
She doesn't need help, but
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, she does.
So we're pretty sure she's not gonna continue to untie. She's gonna
No.
go along with the plan.
No.
She's now
Well, no,
roped
she started
into
with
it.
it. She was like,
Yeah.
She was
Wait
like,
a
no, wait a
minute.
minute.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Now, granted, the wait a minute was understood at first.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
okay, now wait, because we
Yeah.
found Rachel here. What are you doing
Yeah,
here?
that-
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I kind of got that for a second, but then I'm like, okay, once you got the story, girl, like let's untie
Yeah.
her. But in true Kristen fashion, she about to try to use this to her advantage. See, this is why Rachel's gonna end up being the combination of Kate, Sammy, and her,
Oh my
and
god.
a dash of Stefano.
I know.
Oh my gosh. We're not ready. It gives me it makes me nauseous. It gives me a migraine just to think about what she's gonna be like in
Woo.
5 years.
That ain't even your child.
I know, but it's like unleashing a holy terror on the world.
Yep.
If anybody ever watched, it was a really like an indie kind of TV show, Salem, where they kind of rewrote the story of the Salem witches. That's that child,
And we thought
devil on earth.
we thought we had to worry about Lil Sierra
Oh, I remember
Right?
that. I remember that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
No.
when she
Comparison.
stole that jewelry from
Balls.
Sammy.
The
Oh.
earrings,
Right,
yeah.
balls. Bomb.
Well,
Ugh.
it'll be interesting to
Right.
see how this
Yeah.
story unfolds, especially now knowing that the lady in white is now Kristen's mother.
Yeah.
So
We got to get Peter back.
I know.
I know, I would
gotta
love
get
to see Peter back.
You know, I think that's what's tripping me up about this storyline is that I never in a million years would have thought that they would have revisited the woman in white storyline.
here.
But before all of that, I would have said that they would have brought back Peter or Celeste.
Yeah, they have
That would be
well, maybe
nice,
they on
yeah.
the way.
I hope.
I
Yeah.
could play Celeste.
You go, girl.
Hello, darling.
Stefano, darling.
Stefano, darling.
The cards. The cards.
It's in the cards, darling.
And she always got the death card. I was like, just put the
Always.
card. I was like, don't do the card.
Just
We know
put
what's
the,
gonna happen.
Just put the deck
It was
up.
always
honey.
like,
Alexandra, darling.
Alexandra.
Oh.
oh, that was good. The Steph
That
and
was
the
always-
father reveal though, when they
Yes.
were, yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
good.
Oh, and when
Renee Jones,
honey,
man.
when Lexi decided I'm gonna be a Demira, and she
red
had on that
dress.
red dress with that.
Mhm.
Something about red
I
dresses.
know the
Yeah,
Mm.
that was good.
All right.
Renee Jones. Mm.
Aw.
Well, that
We
was
love
this
her.
week's
Love her.
episodes of Days. And now we're going to get to our favorite part of our show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official.
You go, girl. Sorry, Mark's not here.
Three Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
Did it
We
happen?
ain't gonna hear.
Oh, okay, as long as you press the button, that's all that matters. Okay, this Three Snaps Award
Okay,
goes to Ms. Lindsay Goffrey, Sarah Horton, who, for two reasons, one, had to sit through her delusional boss being very upset over his firing of him being a wonderful soap actor, and two, being the boss bitch behind two dummies that she knows she's going to have to control. So, Lindsay Goffrey, Sarah Horton, you get Tony's official Three Snaps Award.
Snap. You go, girl.
And now it's time for Caption That. We'll assume it stopped.
Okay, this week's caption that comes courtesy of Paulina and Paulina and Nurse Whitley, in the room where Nurse Whitley allegedly pulled all these stunts and shenanigans. And this
Yes.
week's caption goes to Valerie W from Twitter, Soap Val 2020. Nobody puts Abe in the corner.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
good one.
That's cute.
That's
Oh,
a
that's
good
cute.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
Caption, yeah.
Wait for it.
It's in my brain.
Caption That.
I have it
Okay.
really in my head.
All right. See. And now it's time for
It'll keep the pace.
Those Were the Days.
All right, everyone. This week's episode, Those Were Days.
Oh, speaking
I'm
of.
taking you back to February. Yeah, I know. February 3rd, 1993, when Renee Jones debuted as Lexi Carver. Now, if you're an old school fan, you know that she was not the original Lexi. There were actually 4 different actresses who played Lexi, or 3, or yeah, I think she was the 4th or 5th. And if you were really old school, you know that this is not Renee Jones's first role on the show. And if you know, put it in the chat room. But she actually played a different character back in the early 80s, and she was ironically paired with James Reynolds back then. So if you know that character, put it in the chat and we'll shout you out. But yeah, so take you back to February 3rd, 1993, where Renee Jones assumed the role of Lexi Carver. Yes. And we wish she'd come back. She's really alive.
Yeah.
She's retired.
Yeah,
Oh, she's definitely
so good, though.
retired.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
She said, honey,
She's
out.
on a yacht
I'm
somewhere
out.
sipping
Yeah.
champagne.
Living her life.
Don't bother me.
She is very retired. Yeah.
And that
Bless
was
her.
And now it's time for It's a Gift. Oh, Justin, how you on the screen? How are all y'all on the screen?
Take me off.
Take me off. Wait for me.
Whoops.
Yeah.
All right. And this week's It's a Gift goes to my favorite, my MVP of the week, Miss Felicity. And her views on this week, worth a try. This is my view on this week's
Cute.
content. It was worth a try.
That's awesome.
Just trying to get you some dick, girl. It's okay.
I mean, literally.
That's not how she
Worth
would
a
say
try.
it.
Can you imagine if she did?
But yes,
Like
Miss
Kennedy. Oh my
Yes.
god.
yes,
Don't
Miss
put her
Kennedy
on.
Garcia,
Yeah.
you get my It's a Gift this week.
They just got to her. She's like,
I feel like that gift is very appropriate just for life. I feel like
Yeah.
that every day. Well, worth a try.
Try. Worth a try.
2025 vibes.
Oh,
Worth a
yeah.
try.
Worth a
Try.
try.
All right, and that was It's a Gift. And now it's time for
News and gossip.
News and gossip.
all right, we are starting news and gossip off with the casting notice. Mr. Billy Flynn will guest star on an upcoming episode of CBS's Matlock, and it's going to air this week, February 13th. So check him out there. And this is the newer version with Kathy Bates as Matlock. So Go check that out. CBS,
really good.
February 13th. Billy
Yeah.
Flynn.
She just won a Critics' Choice Award.
Oh yeah, that's right. She
Yeah,
did last
yeah,
night.
really good.
Critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
All right, and next up, Al Calderon has a new song out February 21st. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. It's Elo 102. He's gonna have to tell me later on how to do this. But as we have mentioned, he has new music out on his socials. So if you want to go and pre-save this latest song, you can go to his social media pages to be the first to listen.
Yes. And this past week, Lindsay Godfrey helped celebrate World Cancer Day by celebrating the fact that she is actually 18 years in remission from
Yay.
Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yes. And just document she went through 12 rounds of chemo at the time and now wears, of course, her ribbon tattoo actually as a symbol of her battle. So yeah. Just glad that
Love
she's
her.
still around.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations,
yeah,
Yeah.
came on the other side.
No small feat. All right, next up in the Days Online world, ever wonder which of your favorite actors are listening to what? What is their most popular thing on their playlist? In the Days social media page, you will find a video of Elia, Jackie, Carson, Al, Greg, Raven, Leo, and Lewis sharing what they have on their constant repeat at the moment. And there was another one that went on Days Social. I don't think they realized how much this would blow up, but Days Peacock social media took to their accounts to share a shady warning that their TikTok had been hacked this past week, and that thanks to a loyal fan, the fake account was quickly taken down within an hour. So congratulations on that. If you read the comments about that, we'll discuss that another day.
Oh, okay.
I side with the show on this one though.
On this one we side with the
This
show.
particular issue, you can't parade around.
No, don't pretend to be someone else.
Exactly,
It's not cool.
Yeah.
Having a fan account and impersonating another account are two different things.
Yes.
Someone was impersonating
Yes.
an account.
Not someone trying to be a real lady whistleblower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe they got money out of it.
After an hour? Doubtful.
And next up, we have Kim Coles, who we just talked about a little while earlier. She actually did an interview with Soaps in Depth, talked about her recent return to the show, and actually talked about how quite sort of meaningful it was. I think she was saying how the last time she had her sit on, it was so great that she hoped that Days would call her back again. I think maybe she was hoping for a little bit more of a longer stint this time, but she said it did sort of open her up to a whole new audience that she's used to getting recognized for, like Living Single, of course, and Living Color, and then people are coming up to her recognizing her as Whitley from Days, and she said it just opened up a whole new audience and career for her, and so she's incredibly appreciative and honored and touched that they asked her back. So fingers crossed, we see her back again sometime soon. So yeah, go check out that article. Really, it's just nice to see a veteran actor, someone who's been around, still also feel touched and honored that people want to include them on their show. So go check that out in Soaps in Depth.
Next up, the Day Players have kicked off their 2025 tour dates. They're going to be doing upcoming shows in Atlanta, Nashville, Birmingham, Oklahoma City, Addison, Texas, Albany, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So if you want more information and tickets, go to thedayplayersband.com.
Yes, and Star Image, we have a couple of events. We have the Q&A Zoom with Remington Hoffman and Eric Martzov, this one on February 16th. And then, of course, we have the summer concert and dance party that's happening this year, the weekend of June 20th to 21st in Montreal, Canada. All tickets and information, go to eventbrite.com/Star Image Entertainment.
Yes, and Starstruck Fan Event is going to have their Cinco de Derby event the weekend of April 5th through 6th at the Meadowlands Racetrack in New Jersey. For tickets and information, you can go to starstruckfanevents.com. And Sherry Jimenez, Gabby Hernandez, has been added to this event.
Yes, then Samantha and Friends has 2 upcoming events this year, or so far. We have the Winter Wonderland we've been telling you about, the charity fundraiser gala. That one's May 3rd through 4th, that weekend of this year. Then they have a Haunted Mansion event happening September 13th through 14th of this year. All tickets and info, samanthasfriends.org.
Yes, and as we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks and months and months and months, today is our 10th anniversary. And after this live show, we are going to be celebrating tonight at Rocco's in West Hollywood. So if anybody is in town, if anybody's RSVP'd, we will see you tonight.
Yes.
All right. And that was
News and gossip.
News and gossip. Assuming it's over, we are now going to take a look at what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
Happy Valentine's Day, my love.
You never know where you might find a Valentine.
Looks like you've seen a ghost.
I met your mother. And it's never too late to make plans.
Whatever you want to do.
I think you know what I want to do.
Are you two planning to have sex tonight?
I still want to have a baby.
Let's have a baby.
Let's have a baby.
Oh,
Romantical.
So romantical. It's going to be so romantical this week.
So romantical.
I don't
think it's
know.
Rosie Perez.
Oh, they're so oh, from White Man Can't Jump?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So romantic.
I would say romantical all the time. I always say that.
I always say romantical too,
Oh,
but
it's from
I got it
something.
from somewhere for sure.
I don't know.
Well, looks like next week is going to be a week of love.
Well, it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Love on the rock.
Whatever. Okay.
Ain't no surprise.
Well, before we sign off today, as we have continued to tell you, remind you, today we are celebrating 10 years of Dishin Days. Today, February 8th, 2015, three dudes started this recap show and talking about Days of Our Lives. And 10 years later, here we are, still talking about Days of Our Lives. And why? Because we were able to get through the elephant storyline.
Those early years. Those early years.
Body and Soul is this year's elephant.
Elephant?
Oh.
So I just want to take a second to talk about the past 10 years. I mean, I obviously have been with the show since its inception. Michael, I think you've been with the show now for 7 or 8
years, yeah.
Araceli and Justin, you guys are
Almost
about
5.
5.
Yeah.
How long were y'all with the show?
You came.
You were a few years, 2 years.
Yeah, I started in 18, I believe.
Yeah.
You and I started together, Tam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember your orientations.
Yeah, I remember your orientation too. And you were like, I'm gonna be on the Days of Our Lives show. I was like, who's this one? But now we're the fastest friends.
Yeah.
And I was officially on the show only a year, but I made the biggest impression.
We like to just let him. Sometimes you just let
Seed
people live
impressions
in their truth. So, discussing the past 10 years, what have been your favorite moments, your least favorite moments, your ups and downs, your roses, your thorns of being a part of Dishin Days?
I'm just glad to have a community to talk about this show with, because for the longest time I watched it and nobody I knew watched it around me. Or I would mention the show and I get, oh, is that show still on? And and like, oh, I think my great grandmother twice removed used to watch it. back in the day.
Twice removed.
I'm like, okay, so what were my options? Soap Twitter, and so then, and I've told this story before. I knew about Dishin Days. I knew Tony loosely from just being in
Not like that.
Yeah.
Not loosely.
No.
Just
I mean, like on
Just
in loose
like that.
term, like we would see each other
In passing.
in passing.
Oh,
or
okay.
I was aware of Dishin Days, and I would always think, oh, that's the guy that hosts the Days of Our Lives. And I always thought I would it might be fun to be a part of that. But then I'm like, oh, it's on camera, and
I have to wear pants.
I gotta- no, you don't gotta wear pants, Tammy. You don't gotta. So, and then he put out a call on Facebook. It's like, hey, any Days of Our Lives fans in the LA area want to be a part of our show? And I was like, oh, this is my chance. And I was like, no. But I told myself, if he asks again, I'll do it. Just as a challenge to myself. Well, sure as shit, 2 months later, any Days of Our Lives fans in the area?
There ain't
we're still
find
looking for
nobody.
people. And I was like, oh, well, now I did it. I did my
Wow.
intro show with the guest that week, Casey
Casey
Diedrich.
Diedrich. Oh.
Oh wow.
Moving on. Okay. Moving on.
And so yeah, and then it's just been it's fun to have a place to talk about this show with, because it's very niche,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get that worked up about a lot of shows or whatever. And I will say, I will mention a favorite moment, and no shade to anything the four of us current have been through, but
shade coming.
No. The Emmys weekend of 2019, because we did our Emmy weekend started on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I have never been to Pasadena so much in my life.
Yeah.
And I got free parking.
You did get free parking.
You get so upset.
I did. How did you get free parking? Because I love me some free parking. No, but we did the nominee party on Wednesday. We did the creative art. We did the carpet and the press for the creative arts on Friday. We went to the gifting suite on Saturday, had champagne and got some free loot. Then we did the main ceremony on Sunday. And I remember Tami and Tony and I being in the press room. And when they would announce a winner, we were all, yay! Not just for Days, but anybody. We'd be like, yay! And everyone would give us like this stank eye. And we treated it like it was a sports ball event.
Yeah.
So, but you know,
we were happy to be there.
Absolutely.
We were happy to be there. It was just a fun time. And again, when are you going to be able to do that? When do you know? So, but we've also had good times, the four of us, like at Day of Days, or when we've all been to the Emmys. It's been a joy.
Yeah. Justin, Araceli.
I'll go. Two quick. I've been a fan since day one. One without me is, of course, the infamous 50th year anniversary. The reveal that Black Hope was not some sort of Black Pride stance that James was taking, but it was in honor of the character of Hope. Just that whole interaction, I think, is just laugh out loud. I always revert back to it when I need a good laugh. The fact that was the reveal and Mark and Tony were caught off guard and were like, wait, what again?
100%.
Yeah.
And I was like, you completely tried all of us. Like, I thought it was literally like, you know, let's keep Black Hope alive and like, right on, brother. Because, you know, James Lott Jr. was around during that time. And then he was like, no, like, my favorite actress is Kristen Alfonso, you know, who plays Hope. And I said, wait a minute. You think you the Black Hope?
I was.
So that was a favorite moment as a fan. One with us was when, I'm sure we've had ones before, but I think one that just always sticks out is the infamous Alex phone call fight. Because if you remember, there were times where we think some topic's going to be a big one, and I remember specifically we thought the threesome was going to be such a big topic, and we were going to get into it, and we covered it and we went through it like that. But it was the infamous Alex phone call thing that just set us on a rant of us going back and forth. And I think it was like me and Tony against Araceli and Michael on that issue. And
I don't remember my stance.
Yeah, we talked about that one topic just for a half hour going back and forth and really debating, and so I think it really just cemented us as a group in our chemistry. So
because we were all in favor of the threesome, we were like, yes, support it, great.
Yeah. We were fine with that.
That was like done. Yeah. But that phone.
Oh.
Do you remember Day of Days when we were at the Marriott downtown? And you and I were on one, and we kept poking you about something, and you were just laughing. We were being so inappropriate amongst all these stuffy old soap people. And I was like, we're not going to be invited back.
I don't remember that. When was that? Was that last year? Or?
No, it was 2 years ago when we were at the downtown at the Marriott. First time they did it after the pandemic. Oh, that was a fun day. But
that was a fun day.
He and I were just like, Anyway,
I love it.
But you were laughing. You were having a good time.
Yeah. I always laugh. It takes a lot to piss me off. It really
does.
It does. No. You know, you've not seen me pissed off.
I don't think I want to.
No, you don't. You don't. I've been known to make children cry. You don't. No.
You done met your match.
Okay. I think I forget if it was Spectrum that we partnered with one year. Do you remember we had that? Yeah, the 7th anniversary celebration that we had.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was the first like real like intimate celebration that we had together where we didn't really have to work. And it was the night before our first attempted live.
Burbank Marriott.
So that the Burbank Marriott. So that live did not go great.
It's still up there though.
Afterward.
If you don't want to hear nothing, you can go watch that.
Well, it was great in the room.
It was great in the room. Yeah,
live audience.
You can see his
Yeah.
mom, Michelle.
Yeah, it was great in the room. Like my mom was there. It was great.
Oh, that's right.
But the day before we had that party, and then a couple of people from the Days cast were there, and I think that felt really intimate with us, where we were able to connect with the fans. We were able to connect with some cast members that we hadn't really interacted with yet, because it was some of them I think I hadn't even done anything because it was still so soon after the pandemic when they came on. So it was a real great opportunity for us to get together in an intimate setting and really get to know each other. And then what I will never forget, just because I will give Tony all the props because he made very good points on this, is the famous Blue Bunny conversation.
Very valid points.
He made very valid points.
Don't nobody have sex like this. Like when you are, in the words of Anita Baker, caught up in the rapture, you are just. So how you walk in a room and not be able? Don't get me started.
No, but it was what really drove home the point was when he actually brought out the ice cream.
Oh, I sure did. I said, wait, because I had some Blue Bunny ice. I said, you see the chocolate part? You see the vanilla part? You see how they're...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
And this is why I can have cookies and cream.
Over to the couch.
Yes.
How did you guys... Tell us about your time on the show.
Phenomenal moments, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, the inception of my partnership with you on the show, my very first show ever as a host was with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time we'd ever met.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't met in person. So I was a complete train wreck. I was so nervous, like meeting you, because, you know,
Where's everyone so nervous to meet me?
You know, your thing, and how is this
Not
going to
anymore.
go? And,
Yeah.
and you just leaned in and said, "We're just talking about days of our lives, right?" Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then the next week, Teo was a guest. So then we went through a whole nother mental breakdown because Teo's Teo.
Yes, it
Teo is very
You
Teo.
all have a
Is there a
different
question?
relationship.
Yes.
When you're a woman and you're next to Teo, it's like,
You
okay, I
getting
can
some
do this.
feels.
I can do this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's part professional memory, but also part friendship. When we were doing Day of Days and you got to meet.
Oh, Christoph.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in the behind the scenes stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, all of us, the moments behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not recorded.
Yeah.
It's all up here. I wish
Yeah.
we could
Yeah,
actually
I know.
record moments like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You were just hyperventilating.
I was.
Like, I can't do this. And I'm all, Cher, snap out of
She said,
it.
James, go in the corner, pull yourself together.
Yeah.
Like, yes, mother. Like,
Yeah.
in the corner.
And then
Oh yeah,
that
when
magic.
when Tammy gives you an order,
Yeah, just do it. Just do
something
it.
about her.
Yes, just do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
She said, go in the corner, she said, pull yourself together. I said, I pull myself together.
And that was such a magical moment. That day was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and the wig episode, the wig show.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Gabigail.
love
Yes,
that
that was
wig.
fun. Yeah, my people love that
God.
episode. They love me all those
Love
wigs.
that episode. Yeah. So
We always dress up around here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like planned. Sometimes it's like an hour before the show. What y'all got? Can we pull this off?
but you know what would make me the most nervous is when you would take the live phone calls.
With AfterBuzz, oh yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
afterwards, that
Yeah.
always is like,
Because we never knew who was going to be on the other line. Actually, in fact, while we're talking about that, the funny thing that I came across the other day was when we had Jen Lilly, and there was this lovely woman
just talking about
who was talking about how she watches Dishin Days. She watches Days at her church.
Oh,
And then she got to the part of where she said, "I have to skip the Paul and Will."
She's like, I
scene."
can't
Yeah.
watch Will and Sonny kissing or whatever.
But Michael Mattis's face, Mattis was sitting like this, and he was just like, and then there came an eye roll, and then I was like, "Oh no!"
And Jen Lilly is sitting in the middle, poor Jen Lilly, she's like, Because at first I thought she was saying like, okay, so it was Paul and Will at the time, and I was like, oh, she's a Will and Sunny fan. You know how they're very dedicated.
Right.
But then I was like,
No,
then I started
she's
putting the
making a
two and
different
two
point, yeah.
together, and I was like, it's homophobia.
Yes, it's homophobia.
Live.
Live.
Yeah, and then you handled it masterfully. You were like, love it. Love is
Love is
y'all.
love.
Love is love, y'all.
But first there was that awkward, oh no. What do I say? But yeah, those moments were always like, hello, you're on the line. And then it was but our fans have actually been really cool.
We never had too many.
No.
Even that one.
Nothing too crazy.
Gnarly or anything.
My favorite will always be Randy from West Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
For Melissa Archer.
Yes.
17 things you love about Paul Telford. You can start at 17 and work your way up, or 1 and work your way down.
That was so good. Oh, that was so good.
Tony, speaking of, people want to know, 2 people have asked, did Jen Lee ever bake you a cake?
Oh, how funny.
She didn't.
She made us other things though.
She always brought stuff.
Yes,
whenever she came to the show, she always bought like cookies or or something.
With the mostest.
Yeah.
We love Jen.
All right, James.
Well, I feel like I'm
now before you start. Keep in mind.
Timing. Yes.
We're down
You will
to
not
our last
play me
15
off.
minutes.
You
Yes,
will not play me off.
I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure Tanner like hit that button, honey.
Tanner, you're my friend, right? Okay. No. I'll be brief. Just say I represent the older show generation, not the age.
And age.
I am older. But no, but from the early years, I just want to show this one mug. Issa from France made us a mug with all 4 of us on it, the original cast and everything, and poems and shirts. I was just watching the show, but Issa, we love you. That's the thing I think was so shocking for me, Mark and Tony, and even Peter at one time, because we did a show at a house in Encino, behind giant, gates and everything. When we went up to our first day of days, and they were screaming our names, the fans, it was like, we know who we are? What's going on? It was kind of like, and we had actual people sending us gifts or being there. It was like, that was so weird. We were just like, oh, this actually, it goes out there, but this is like for real. It's like for real. So that's what made me go. And again, and I will say, because my age, I was in my late 40s, and I was like, wow, that's my first TV show, and it could be like this? I had no idea. Well, of course, my favorite moment, of course, Christian Alfonso. That's like, and
your squeal at the end.
And my squeal at the end. But I want to mention, because somebody asked me the other day, how did I get on the show? Because my situation is totally different than everybody here. I never heard of AfterBuzz TV, never heard of Tony Moore, never heard of...
You hear me?
Never heard of you, girl.
Google me, bitch.
I never heard of anything, but I was dating someone, shout out to Raj, I was dating someone who was best friends with Peter Ramos. And naturally, that's his best friend, James, you got to meet him. And I met him, and he goes, yeah, our friend Tony from Mickey's is doing a show for Days of Our Lives. I'm like, what does that mean? I didn't know what that meant. And they're like, we're doing a show where we talk about Days of Our Lives. I go, okay. He's like, do you like Days of Our Lives? I love Days of Our Lives. He goes, you should come on one day and join us. I'm like, sure. I say yes to everything. But we talked about Days of Our Lives the whole night, me and Peter, just back and forth. And so then you started the show. But then like a week later, you had to leave.
Yeah.
I didn't know Tony. I didn't know AfterBuzz TV. I didn't know Tony. He said, James, can you come on? It was Wednesday. Can you come on Sunday? I'm like, to do what? Like, co-host the show. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I said, I'll go there, support Peter. Mark Freeman was my first lead host. I walk into this house that's not a porn set, because I was like, Encino, a house in Encino. Yeah. They made the house into a set of studios. It was really cool. I first met Alexis Torres. We should give her a shout out. Alexis Torres. Alexis Torres are sold. She was my first, and I stole that from her. She was my first engineer. She had curly purple hair. I said, oh, you're James Lott Jr. Oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. So I sat down, and I remember thinking, I never want to leave.
And he didn't.
I didn't leave.
He did not. He did 1,500 shows after that.
But then 6 months later, like, James, you have to sign up through the process. And Tony was pissed. He was like, but James has been here 6 months. I got a show greenlit for General Hospital, everything. They're like, you didn't go through the regular channels. They go, well, nobody asked me to.
Yeah.
So what happened was at the orientation, I ran it.
You ran your own
I ran orientation because the thing didn't work. And then Roxy's like, well, James, you know what to do. Tell these people. People were like, you're on that Days of Our Lives show. So I ran my own thing.
Well, I didn't go through orientation either.
See,
I just kept showing
But
up.
I didn't meet Tony until, because he was gone twice. I guest hosted twice. I guest on it. And I finally met him, and like, was like, it's Tony Moore. Oh my God. I'm so nervous. So he hope he likes me or whatever. And he came and gave me a big hug. Yeah. And we did a show together. Me, you, and
y'all get so nervous, and I walk in so unbothered, and I be like, "Hey, girl, how are you?"
I wasn't nervous to meet you because again, we knew each other. Like, you probably saw me when I was trashed at Mickey's, but you know whatever. Whatever.
Which time?
Name it. No, but I was more nervous just to be on camera, and then if I was gonna freeze or if I wasn't gonna he was like, "Well, can you talk about Days of Our Lives?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "That'll be the moment where I sit there and I'm like, yeah."
Oh, like James.
We've had one of those. Yeah, we've had one of those.
We talk about it every anniversary.
I sat there and was able to just blah 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 blah. I was like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
I just want to mention May 31st. Those who know. May 31st. It's up on video. You still see it. Watch the ending.
I will never live down May 31st. Will never. But you know what? That shows the many of fights I had to have for this show. Yes, for the show's sake. Well, I guess. Well, that's it, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
20 more.
I don't know. As we've been preparing for our 10th anniversary and, trying to get everything together. I think it wasn't until last night I had a moment to really reflect on the past 10 years. For one, I never thought that 10 years later, I would still be sitting here talking about Days of Our Lives. I also think I never thought that the show would become as big as it has. Not in a sense of like our social media and our the people who watch us and the community that we built, but just the things that we continue to implement with the show. This show was supposed to be very simple. We come together on one day, we talk, and that is it. It has turned into, going to the daytime Emmys. It's turned into Day of Days. It's turned into graphics. It's turned into now memberships and virtual events and this, that, and the other. And I think the show has become bigger than we ever anticipated. And we continue to just do our best to uphold the integrity of the show, but also our own individual personal lives, because this isn't our Days of Our Lives, but this is
what, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of. But this is our opportunity to like actually come together, no matter what's going on with us personally, but come together and just like talk about our favorite soap opera. We have laughed, we have cried, we have been upset. She dead. So, we've gone through so many ups and downs with this show. But what I'm very proud of and what I've always been proud of is the fact that we do come together and do this with all the iterations of the hosts that we've had. We've always brought our individual selves to the show, and we do the best that we can with the show. So for me personally, I want to thank all of you all for what you guys have done for the show to contribute with the show. Mainly, probably should thank you for putting up with me.
Oh, yeah. Every day.
How dare you? We all have personalities and but it's always for the greater good of the show. But thank you guys so much for what you do, what you've done for the show.
Something when you were talking about what the show led to, it led to you hosting Day of Days.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And being on the show.
And being on the show. Yeah.
And also, another plug for me. Without Dishin Days, there would be no GH Report, Mini Spotlight, Wide Arm Mini Spotlight, or Bone Beautiful Mini Spotlight, which we still do 10 years later ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I always say if I would not be here, this alliteration wasn't for Tony.
We always say it's his fault.
It's his fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I had this silly idea at AfterBuzz TV to create a recap of a soap opera that they hadn't done before.
Nope.
And I was like, let's do it because I know everybody. Little did I know the red tape, the hurdles, the things that I would go through to make sure it happened, and then the things we would go through to maintain.
Yes.
So it is a lot of work.
And now AfterBuzz is dead, and we're still here.
We're still here. We're still here. Yes, yes. And that, you know what? And that's dead.
It's not coming back, you guys. It's not coming back.
That's the biggest thing, though, is that in 2020, when the world was shut down, we still had this.
Yeah.
And we had this through AfterBuzz. But when they pulled the plug, we banded together and said, there's still new episodes. There's still big things that are happening. We have to figure this out. And we did.
Yeah.
From the house.
The house.
With Zooms, with pressing all kinds of buttons.
That old bedroom of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Bibby in the back of the bed.
Yes.
Yes.
So with that, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you all. I also appreciate the hosts who are not here: Peter Ramos, Matthew Evan Payne, Mark J. Freeman, Chelsea Overrocker. Thank you guys so much for what you've contributed to the show. Our engineers, Alexis, Steven, Ryan, Marissa, thank you guys so much for your hard work, and especially the fans who have become extended families of ours. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every Sunday at the various times we've had this show over the past 10 years.
And the cast for coming on.
Yes. Their support of us is incredible.
Yes.
They could be dismissive of us and be like, oh, those fans, whatever. They really seem to appreciate what we do.
Yeah.
Which you know is good when it's made apparent. You know, include us in stuff, and happy to come support us. Happy to come support us the way we support you.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's like the fires. Everybody thought, oh, Hollywood, nobody cares about anyone, but little did we know. Everybody cares.
They came together.
And one thing I want to say is the show Dishin Days, and you've implemented it as well, is it's always respectful of the show, of the cast, regardless of what's going on, because we have a genuine love for the industry. Right? For the genre. And so we never cross those lines.
No,
I try not to.
Just with gratitude and respect. So.
We say it in a very tactful way.
Yes.
We had to learn that early on.
Cheese and crackers. Yes,
Cheese and crackers. Before we sign off, here is a little look at the past 10 years of Dishin Days. There we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. We are recapping your favorite soap opera, the hit NBC soap Days of Our Lives. Hooray! It's our first show! Yay!
Favorite James moment is when James started sitting next to me as a co-host.
Oh my god!
Oh
my god!
Mark, he's just become a good friend.
Oh my god!
It's fucking hot.
The Gabagels are here to give you a full recap of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. And trust me, it's a killer. Coming up.
I know.
And she still looks good.
Oh my God, she's so beautiful.
Like a daytime, like a soap actress.
Yeah.
I get that a lot too.
Evolution. Buzz you later.
Buzz you later. All right. And everyone, that has been our 10th anniversary show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, before we head out, we'll start on the couches. Tami Goveia, where can they find you?
Instagram, Tami.Goveia. Sure, if you want to do X, Tami Goveia. And Facebook, Tami Goveia.
James Lott Jr.
quick. You follow her. All James Lott Juniors are sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms, JLJ Media on YouTube, of course, alottahelp.com, and the Super Organizer.
Michael Mattis.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and X Twitter at ML Mattis. It's mostly Bimby, but I mean, y'all get it.
Justin Lee Hareld.
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And you can find us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Was there another one?
No.
Facebook.
That's it. Oh, yeah, I said Facebook first. Y'all, I literally have forgotten how to host the show now that we're live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Dishin Days. We will be back next week live from our house.
Back at the house.
Back at the house. But we thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy 10th anniversary to us. And we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Not us.